going on. It is election night, fam. Ooh, I love election nights. Have you all been watching now? Have already opened the line. So let me just bring this up. If you are in here, let's get the lines open. Let's see where we are. Where are we, family? We are at ooh wee. Let me just see something real quick. Fam, we have a lot to talk about, and it's just, it just kind of goes without saying, but we have a lot to talk about in terms of what this election means for us. But we're going to have to listen. We're going to have to just talk about what it means for the Democrats, what it means for Biden. Let's just get caught up and see if we caught up on this thing. Let me just see if we caught up. Let me bring this up really quick. Let me go back to this page. Make sure that we are caught up. Let me go. Let me see. CNN.com. Let's see if we are all kind of caught up. Let me move this a little bit around. I'm trying to bring all the live feeds in from the news site so that we can kind of see where we are. This is CNN's website. It's looking like it's looking. I'm fine. I am fine. 360 News. I am so excited about whatever because what it means is whatever comes for us, it's a lot. It's gonna be a lot. There are opportunities there are opportunities to build no matter who comes in. So let me make this a little bit smaller. And before I go to the lines, because we'll be going through this throughout. We'll be going through the different web pages or whatever throughout to see what's being counted and what's the update and all that kind of stuff. And if it's some local papers that y'all want to see that I have not included in here, please tell me, Yvette, go to whatever, and I'll go there. But listen, fam. One of the takeaways that I have is it's very interesting is how the Democratic Party keeps trying to kind of excuse Latino voters. Oh, it's a unicorn. We don't know what happened here or why it happened here. I know how it happened because a lot of Latinos vote Republican. A lot of Asians vote Republican. And so you scrambling right now with your vote, right? Because you got a lot of people doing a lot of things that you just kind of don't really want them to do, right? Isn't that kind of what we are? They got a lot of people here. Let's see what fake news is talking about before we get into it. What is fake news? The real fake news. What is the real fake news talking about? Here we go. This is the real fake news right here, ain't it? Let's bring this up. Ooh-wee. It's a lot going on. Family, we finna get to the calls in just 1 second because I really want to hear what y'all have to say. But let me just say, it's unbelievable. Let me just bring this up. Fox News will say anything, but let's just see what they have. That's the same thing as the New York Times has, though. So I guess they about right about it. Now, what we gonna do? What we gonna do with Florida, family? What are we going to do? They seem to have come out strong for Trump. They were singing songs and all kind of stuff. So I don't know. Let me just say this. I really don't know what the Democrats are thinking, but this whole thing that they're doing in terms of we're gonna just go and get a bunch of Latinos, and we're gonna chase people who really don't want us. So the Latino vote is much more than the ADOS vote. It is going in a certain direction. That vote is going to Republicans. We gotta chase whatever's leaving, as opposed to building up what is already is here, which is ADOS. So, I really just want to have a discussion. Are they different in Florida than New Mexico in terms of Latino vote? I really would like somebody to call in and tell me about that. I see what it looks like now, but I would like predictions as well. If you have a prediction, I want to hear it. I want to hear all of that, because I think it is absolutely important. I want to hear what all these people is talking about. But I'm going to go to the calls. I'm going to start off with the calls, fam, because we're going to have a discussion. I love elections. Y'all don't know how much I do. It's like Christmas to me. So anyway, fam, let me go to the first call. I'm going to 301. What's your name? Where you calling from? And what is your prediction for tonight? While I pull up the next live feed from the website.
Evening, Sister Yvette. How you doing? This is Marshall calling.
Marshall, what you got for me? What's the prediction?
Lord, it's
don't play
it's not gonna be good either way for us, but it's gonna be close. I hate to say it. I think Trump gonna do it.
Really?
Unfortunately, yeah. I'm looking. You know what's crazy? I'm doing the same thing as you. I've been flipping back and forth to different channels, checking out a few ADOS centric sites tonight, also to support them. And I think like people are looking at Texas, people are looking at Florida. I'll be honest with you, it's going to be close, and you mentioned it, but that Latino vote, you know how everyone was shocked the day after, the few days after when we found out that 53% of white women voted for Trump, even though as nasty and snarky as he was, to many of them during his campaign. The shocker tonight is going to be how Latinos voted for Trump. And with everything that's happened for the past 4 years, I think the shocker is going to be how, with all the immigration issues and especially with the children in the cages and so forth, how these Latinos voting for him. I predict that's going to be the story. But I wanted to say real quick that this was the first year I can say that I voted Democratic down ballot. And I'll be perfectly honest with you, I was a little wary about it because I'm like, this is the first time I'm actually doing it to write in ADOS as my presidential, as my write-in, and then just voting, down ballot for many other things, some other referendums. Here in my area of Maryland, there was a great race for a local circuit court judge that was very cool with ADOS issues. Got to know her a little bit with some interactions through my chapter, ADOS DMV. So I was happy for that, and just the way that this is going down. I hate to say it, but I see Trump pulling it out by the slimmest of margins. Okay. I may be wrong, but who knows?
Okay. I'm pulling up some stuff I'm seeing. I'm seeing Trump leading the battleground or whatever. So, we don't know.
You know what's crazy? The only, remember 4 years ago, the only poll that was the LA Times poll. So I got the LA Times up. I'm doing what you did. I got Fox News. I've got the Post. I'm, checking the live reports and so forth. It's just, like I said, I may be wrong. I could be wrong. But don't be surprised if, at the last hour, Trump pulls this out somehow.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised at all. Tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised at all. I'm one of the people who would not be surprised at all if Trump pulled it out. I would not be surprised at all, because I think a lot of
neither.
I think a lot of white people are lying. They have wealth that we don't have, and they're trying to protect that wealth, and they won't say it in public. I think a lot of Latinos and a lot of Asians, all these people of color, are very conservative. And so that goes to the down ballot strategy of, no, you got to give it to us. We are the loyal group. This is supposed to go to us, not to all these other people that you're giving it to who are not loyal to you and who abandon you on election day. Now, we abandoned you because you decided you weren't going to do nothing for us. You was going to have all this day one stuff for everybody else, right? So, but if you give us an agenda, and we right here with you.
Absolutely. And that's going to be the shocker. It's going to be, well, I can see Biden. I told you all day one I was going to give you this to all these other players. And we're going to be sitting on the side hey, we could have helped. We would, the numbers are going to show up again. That, of course, black women are going to vote in the high 90s. I see a larger number for black men. People, the whole, black men are going to vote for Trump and so forth. I see us in at least the mid 80s, at least the mid creeping up to the high 80s. I don't see us voting too strong for Trump, so we're going to keep that percentage as black people, ADOS people, at the low 90% when it averages out and so forth. But I'm not going to hold up the line, sis. That's what I got. As always, love to speak to you, and have a good night. Now I'm gonna catch you because I can hear the excitement in your voice. So have a good night, sis.
No, I appreciate you, fam. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Let me just put this up as we go to the next call. I am going to the next call. I am going to 323. 323. What's your name? Where you calling from? And what is on your mind? And what's your prediction? Hey.
You there?
I'm here, fam. What's going on?
You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Oh, okay. It's 81 North. How are you?
Pretty good, North. How you been?
We'll get there in some more time. I just really want to push through this and help you get along with your show. But yeah, I just really want to speak to just a few points. One of them being, because you just really had folks just during the year 2020, just really swaying up and down that there was a coalescence between ADOS and Hispanic. Well, when I'm forgetting what I pulled up, but I put it on Twitter, and what it was basically was the news was out there, and they were filming these folks who again were Hispanic.
Okay.
And what did they have on? Trump shirts.
Mm-hmm.
So, I want to hear from ADOS who swear up and down that we have this coalition, but yet when you turn on the news, who is it that you see? You see Josefina, you see Juan, you see Pablo and them. They talking about Trump. Okay, so I don't want to hear. I just really don't want to hear it. Next thing is, now I see black males. You know, I'm talking about ADOS. I'm not talking about flat blackness. But so far as ADOS males, I could see them voting for Trump if they don't know. I'll give you an example of this.
Okay.
There's a guy that I know in my age range, or whatever the case may be. He's millennial or whatever the case may be. So I think he either tweeted or I've seen him on YouTube, and he was basically saying that he went out and he voted or whatever. He was trying to get everybody else to vote. So I said, well, who did you vote for? He was like, come on, stop playing. You know who I voted for? I said, no, I don't know who you voted for. He says, well, I voted for Biden. I said, what? He said, yeah. He said it was like he was really, really proud. Like, I voted for Biden. I said, well, don't you understand that the incarceration state, don't you understand all of that? Don't you understand that to some people they may call him low-key racist, but no, he's just racist. That's just what it is. He's no better than Trump. So I don't understand.
It's not low-key racist, he's just racist. It's not low-key racist, he's just racist. Yeah, I agree. No, if that's a point. That's a word.
No, go ahead.
No, I said that's a word, and it's not just that he just low key. No, that's racist. It's not low key racist, just racist.
So he's looking at so he's basically like looking at me. This guy looking at me like I'm crazy. So basically, what I told him what I did. I said, look, I went one day early. I voted down ballot. I'm not a Democrat. I've been independent since I've been able to vote. Since 18. But I did the down ballot because hey, this is ADOS. We have a plan. I stuck to the plan. Now, when I got out there at Augustus High School here in LA, there was no local, like for example, there was no local official that I wanted to vote here. Like everything here, excuse my language, is the word shitty. Excuse me. It's not good here. A lot of these people, I don't know their records. They really weren't campaigning like that. They really just looked like they wanted to just be ushered back in the office. They really not talking about who they are. So I said, okay, since you ain't trying to really tell me what you about, what you're doing for ADOS, or what you've done for the small population that is here that's being overlooked, I'm not voting for you. And what I did, every chance I got, the whole thing looked like it was just ADOS. And what I did vote for was all of the props that were here. Like I voted for if you were ex-con, you should be able to vote again. If you're 17, you should be able to vote, at 17. No against Prop 22 for the gig economy or whatever you want to call it. And so that's how we played that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So I wasn't trying to play those games a bit. I wanted to stick to the plan. If I don't know your background and I don't see you did anything good, you're not getting my vote. That's just what it is.
Well, yeah, I think that's what we have to be. Like, see, the thing is, too many people want to be like, oh no, we can't do that because Biden might lose. Jesus help us if Biden loses. And it's just like, listen, it's not about whether or not Biden loses. It's about whether or not we lose. That's what it's about. It's not about whether or not Biden loses. It's about whether or not we lose as a group, and we've been losing for a while. So the question becomes.
Exactly.
The question becomes, how long are we going to keep losing? Because now we got to be careful. See, let me tell you, the strategy is different. And let me see if you agree with this, North. The strategy is different depending on who win and who lose, right? So, listen, if Biden lose, I'm going to say, listen, you know what? You got a lot of disloyal people that you give a lot of attention to. That attention should be here for ADOS. If he wins, the strategy is like, listen, I know Biden ain't going to do nothing for us. So then that's the strategy. Hey, listen, I told y'all he wasn't going to do nothing. He didn't do nothing. What we going to do now? But because nobody calls. See, the thing is, nobody says anything about Latino voters when they go high for Republicans. Nobody says, "Oh my God, you ought to be ashamed." Well, no, but we talk about the data and the quantity. You know, we do quantitatively in terms of stuff we do. So if we do it that way, then hey, okay. If we're doing it that way, let's do it that way. If we're doing it that way, then listen, this group goes highly Republican. We usually don't, but we're apathetic. And I think we need to frame it that way going forward and say that the Democrats have a black apathy problem because they don't ever stand up for us or with us. So they have a black apathy problem. You have a lot of people who either didn't come out or who voted at the top of the ticket down ballot because we're not pleased with you. What can you do, Democrats, to fix that going forward? That's the conversation for me.
Yeah, I agree because here's the thing. You and again, it really wasn't too hard, is it, to really know who you were going to vote for, because like take care for example, again here in LA, a lot of these like the local officials or whatever the case may be, if you're not talking about any type of thing that's having to deal with affirmative action, with ADOS and our position here, and because here's the thing, a lot of these local officials just really running around here like, oh, what is we gonna do about the homeless situation? What is we gonna do? And then what they do is they flash to these people that don't look like us, when the truth of the matter is the highest percentage of people on Skid Row or homeless period here in LA is ADOS people. But you don't see nobody talking about it. You don't see none of the local officials talking about these things. And so therefore, whoever was up for elections, you're done, because I'm not putting up with this. I'm just not. I'm not putting up with it. I'm in a position where I'm fighting for my life. My health is not good, and I'm not fitting to sit up here and just think, one track minded or in a singular belief that it's just all about me. When we're collectively, I'm gonna say this again, collectively we are all failing. We're all dying. It's not just me.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know what I said? No, if we rise together, fall together. People don't understand that. People say, well, I'm this. I have a PhD. I'm not like this, and I'm not this. No, we rise together, fall together. That's it. Everybody needs to understand that. Ain't no in between. Ain't no, well, I'm going to rise and I'm going to get mine, and maybe they don't get theirs. That's not how this works. Rise together or fall together. That's it. That's the end game. That's all you have. So I agree with you, fam, and we're gonna figure it out too.
So at the end of the day, I'm just saying that but my prediction is I'm thinking it's possibly going to be Trump, because back when Hillary was running in 2016, we thought she was going to get this, that, and the third. Folks thought she was going to get certain states, and guess what? She didn't. So love you.
I love you back.
Like food, and thank you for taking my call. Bye.
Thank you, fam. I love you back. I love you back, and I appreciate you. I sure do appreciate you. Ooh, she spoke a word. I appreciate it. I'm coming in 310. Come on through. What's going on?
What up, y'all? Election night 2020. Adolph's in the building. I want to talk about a couple things. I sent you something on Miami-Dade to pull up while I make my first point.
Okay, hold on.
Because we got to look at Miami-Dade, and we do data here at Adolph's. I'm tired of Adolph's people taking the blame. I want to know where the blue check black women are. All the Jamil Hills and the rest of them that have been talking, I want to know where they at, because when I look at Miami-Dade, the demographics tell you who actually lost Florida for the Democrats. We'll talk about that in a second. Let me first say something that Yvette pointed to last show. Obama made us a top-only voting population in 08, and really in 12. I'm not saying entirely, but largely black people were going out just to vote for the president. What down ballot Democrat kind of did is made black people realize there's other stuff on the ticket that might be as important, if not more important, to their lives than just the president. And I think that was a powerful statement that got like how much Obama stole like all of the energy just for his presidency and delivered so little. And I really think that's one of the things that came out of it. And what I don't want to happen, I guess personally, is us to celebrate down ballot Democrat nor weaponize it in our conversation, because it really is a theft of your vote. Because we should have had a candidate on the ballot that we could vote for, that recognized our agenda, that recognized our platform. So that's not the end game, to be down ballot Democrat. Our goal really is to have the Democratic Party give us what we owe, because we made that party. I just want to make that clear to everybody first, and also to make the other point clear, which is think back to 08. Do you even remember the propositions you voted for? No, because Obama was the whole ticket. And that was the failure of how they socialized that entertainment voting of 08. ADOS, this whole shift has made you a more educated voter. The question becomes, if black people get more educated, does it lead to us just understanding more about our struggle, or does it actually lead to politics? And that's going to be the problem you might have with your parents or your grandmama or whoever else, because at the end of the day, if you're not going to leave me $300,000, $400,000, you better leave me some politics. And I'm saying this because I'm looking over and we see this thing going on with Miami-Dade, if you can pull it up. So in Miami-Dade, it's crazy because when you looked at it, Hillary Clinton took 65 or so percent of Miami-Dade. It was a lower voting percentage, but she took, I think, 65%. And excuse me if I'm wrong by a few percentile. Biden only got 55% of this county. I think even 53%, that low. Understand that this county is the driver of how a Democrat will win Florida. So this population base failed the Democrats. This population base is 65% Latino. It's 15% white. And then it's 17% black, but that also is a large split of Haitians. It's just what it is. This is the point of ADOS, not just reparations. Break us out. Stop bringing, because you remember the Gillum election, for some reason, black women were at 82% support for Gillum. This is the same state. We need the disaggregated data, just like Latinos get for Cubans and for Mexicans and for El Salvadorians. I want to see it broken out. And so what I'm saying to you is what we definitively know is that Miami-Dade is 65% Latino, pretty much like a mix of Cubans and different groups like that. And they didn't vote the way they were supposed to vote. And that's what failed Florida. So are all the black people that came out from Bacardi Sellers to Jamil Hill going to come out tomorrow and blame the Latinos in Florida? Or is Anna Navarro still going to get a seat at the table?
Uh-oh.
Because she got to come and be part of the Biden campaign while she's a Republican. And then on the same time, she gets to be everything at once. Anna Navarro being the Cuban woman from CNN who is Republican, but then got to do campaign ads or campaign get-togethers for Biden. This is the problem, is that we got to go granular and start looking at this data and not just let them run off. Because they were talking about Florida, then all of a sudden they stopped talking about Florida. I want everybody to also understand, let's not use a fear-mongering model to look at this election. Trump has a slim window to actually win this election. Very slim. And I want us to be more, I guess, astute politically than we are right now, which is just to say what path you think Trump gonna use to win. Not just like I feel like he's gonna win. Right now, what happens is he gotta take, and he just took Florida. He gotta hold on to all the states that he had. And so what we have right now is North Carolina, Ohio, Michigan. He took all those states by like 0.7%. Tell us what states you think he's gonna take that he didn't take before. I think that's important for yourself as well, because that gets you more in a political, beyond just the feeling that I feel he's gonna win. Right now, all Biden has to do is flip some of these states. And he ahead in some of them because Trump was that bad of a president. So I feel like we can't, look, Trump is a reflection of whiteness, but he's been a failed president. So he has to overcome that individually. And we can't put all of our pain, suffering, and everything else inside of Trump. We got to look at this election and say, how he going to win tonight? And I don't think he has a real path. If I had to call it, I think Biden wins. I think that Biden had an energy problem. I think that Biden failed ADOS people. But at the end of the day, Trump was such an awful president for a number of reasons that, I mean, what does it take to lose to Trump? I guess, we'll see as the night goes on. I'm not saying it's impossible. But the math for Trump is very, very slim, y'all. So I'm just, and they're going through it on CNN. I love how they have the maps up. Been watching it all night with Yvette and a number of other people. Now, next thing. What's weird also is what happened is, and we all had this discussion around the decadent veil. They took black celebrities and disassociated them from their wealth and their celebrity. So Lil Wayne, Ice Cube, Jay-Z, whoever else you want to use in the sphere, they're more in line with Lizzo than they are with a black man on the street. Those are celebrities. I don't know how like there's a Damon Young, he wrote a piece about black men and white people, and then at the cover was Lil Wayne. What does that have to do with black Angeles or Atlanta or anything else. See, people got to understand what defines people's lives. These people tour, they go around the world, they spend money, they buy clothes, they vote according to their tax bracket. Their alignment is based on being a celebrity. The fact that people don't know that shows you that not only are they politically naive, but they might not have the anchoring to make basic classification and judgment things to be able to be speaking for us. I don't even understand how we got there where people don't understand the basics of that. You have a group that is abject in poverty, and you're going to take this group that is black celebrity, disassociate them from each other, and then associate Lil Wayne to some black guy on the street as being both black men. And he speaks for them, and he showed that they support Trump too. Don't make no sense. I just wanted to point that out. And the last thing I'll just say is, one of the things that Yvette just pointed out with the last caller is, what everybody was telling us to vote for is the status quo. The reason why they was talking about that from a white male that has $2 million in inheritance, is about 56, and still waiting for some $2 million, in savings for his retirement, and is about 56 or 58, and waiting for more from his mother still alive, and she about to die. To a black pensioner that has a $400,000 house, and they're waiting on their pension and everything else, and they're comfortable. They just want to get back to the status quo. What happened is, I don't think everybody really understands that status quo don't work for the middle black family. It don't work for the black college age person that just graduated. It don't really work for black people beyond our pension group. That's what the data shows. So we have to have transformation. So whether you want to frame it inside of reparations, a black agenda, or anything else, status quo, getting back to the Obama years, getting back to the Clinton years even, that don't work for us. We need a transformation in the politics of this nation. Now, part of that is we have to have a change from a flat blackness. Because what a flat blackness does is when you granularly get down to Miami-Dade, and I'll leave it here, we don't want to talk about whether that might be Haitian black folks. And I'm not saying it is or it isn't. I want to know, though. And I'm saying, like, if it is, you can't stick that on ADOS people. No different than you would stick the voting patterns of Cubans on Mexicans in New Mexico. They would never do that. But they've done that here, and we've allowed it. So we got to unpack this thing, and hopefully through this night, as we look at this process, we're even more informed. If Trump wins, it's not on us. I don't think Trump wins. I think Biden wins. But we'll see. Trump's path is very slim. I'll leave it at that.
Appreciate it, Tone, as always. Appreciate it as always. Yeah, it is what it is. I mean, we don't, and I like he said, what Antonio is really saying is it's like, this is about the numbers, right? So let me bring this off 1 second. This is about the numbers. So you can't kind of talk about it in a way that is not number centric, right? In the sense that, gosh, when are they gonna figure this out? Let me just put this up here. So instead of just saying like, I have a feeling, or I have an inkling, or I have a hunch, this becomes about, what do the numbers look like? How many electoral votes? And I hate the electoral college, but how many electoral votes does this state have versus this state? And that's kind of what Trump and Biden have been up against all night. They've been up against a numbers game in terms of winning the states. So I'm going to go to my next call. I'm going to 414. What is your name? Where you calling from? What is on your mind?
Hey, Yvette, I'm calling from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and my name is Quentin.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Pretty good. I can't complain.
Good. So for me tonight, when I voted ADOS in the presidential box, because I just couldn't do it. Like, I just couldn't vote for Trump, and I couldn't vote for Biden because I feel like neither party speaks for us, So I just couldn't consciously do it. But as far as my projection go, I do think Biden is going to win. I agree with Tone Talks in that. I do think Biden is going to win this election. And I say that because there's this author named Alan Lichtman, and he's a professor, and he wrote this really good book about the different keys that needs to be turned in a presidential race in order to show who the next president may be. And he's predicted elections since 1985. And he said the only how Trump will win this election is if there is a mass a mass voter turnout of like, basically just hacking going on from, all different type of sorts, voter oppression and things like that. And I honestly believe that to be the truth because we constantly see where, different groups are just created out of nowhere that's like formed into militias almost. That's just like, trying to suppress people's right to vote. So I do believe that Biden will win this election. Though, like I said, I didn't vote for either him or Trump. I do think that Biden is going to win the election. But furthermore, there's this quote that you always say, and I always keep this in my mind. You had said a vote is an exchange, right? It's
not
an
a gift, not a gift.
Yes, and that right there is so true. And I just want to run this really quick story about something that happened here in Milwaukee in particular. And, Wisconsin is considered a battleground state, so I really can't wait to see how this goes. But our district attorney in Milwaukee specifically, he has a son that is 20 years old. And I don't know if you remember the infamous David Sheriff Clark.
Oh, I do. Unfortunately, I do.
So there was another sheriff that came in named Ernell Lucas. He's in there now and things like that. And I'm like, all right, cool. We voted. I know so many people that voted for him because of of his standings on things. But the district attorney, he has a son named Ted Chisholm, who was only 20 at the time, but apparently he played a role on the new sheriff we have. He played a role in like helping him get into office because becoming a sheriff because he helped run the man's campaign. I think he was the campaign manager.
Okay.
So I just thought it was interesting that as soon as he got in, maybe I think about 2-3 months later, this 20-year-old was offered a position that was never posted. And that position is the chief of staff for the sheriff's department.
Oh, all right now. Nepotism.
And this position, Yvette, is $85,000 a year.
Of course it is. When you buy people, you try not to buy them cheap unless they're Negroes. Negroes come cheap. Yeah. Everybody else you got to pay a little bit of money for.
Yeah. And for me to wrap this in, I just thought that was interesting that there's so many, of us, of black people that are doing whatever we need to get to wherever we're trying to go to. And then you have somebody like that who just simply helped ran a campaign, now making $85,000 a year with no qualifications, no college, no nothing, Yvette. Just simply, him running the man's campaign and him also being a district attorney's son. And that's why that quote, what you said, a vote is an exchange, that right there is the most simplest terms to me of what a vote in exchange is for. He agreed, probably behind closed doors, I'm going to do this, but then you need to do this for me. And that's how I think we as a people have to really, and we really have been doing that for a while, but I think we just really got to dig into it like never before. Because one thing tonight, I think the Democrats, if they do lose, or if they even win, I think one of the biggest things they're going to look at is the fact that it wasn't Latinos that got them in. It wasn't Asians that got them in, because data doesn't support that, And I think they're going to look like this is it. From now on, these are the people who we have to truly entrust, which is, black people, in order to get into the office. However, I still think they're going to take this for granted at the end of the day, but that's where we as black people we have to know when to call that craziness out.
I think they're going to do more than just take it for granted. I think they're going to use it as a reason not to help us. So I think what they're going to do is say, oh my God, the Latinos are leaving. We have to chase them. That's what they did with white people. Oh my God, who chases the person that's leaving? Like, even if you have somebody who you're dating two people and one person wants to run away and they're both fabulous and one person wants to come in and be the love of your life. Why are you chasing this one? No, you got somebody right here. And I think we have to be careful. Now, it's kind of like Antonio said in terms of what's going to happen. But I would say this. If by some fluke it turns the other way, I would say, we have to hold Trump and them accountable Biden and the Democrats accountable for, you put too much stake. And even if Biden wins, y'all put too much stake in the Latinos. Like, and y'all put too much stake in the People of Color Coalition. It didn't work for y'all. Like, you put way too much stake in that. And at some point, you're going to have to own that. At what point? I don't know. But at some point, you got to own that. That's all I say.
Yeah. And you know, too, and I'll finish up on it, but I just want to know if any, did you see the video that Trump shared with the Nigerians?
Oh yeah, I saw. I retweeted it. Yeah. I just don't. Let me just say this. Like, I never cheer for a Nigerian president. I don't even know what y'all doing. This is some stupid stuff y'all doing. Like, I don't ever cheer. I don't ever go out and be like, hey, the Niger, because it doesn't affect me. Like, y'all, what's wrong with y'all? That y'all outside? For those who don't know, Trump put up a video about with some Nigerians who were cheering for him on election day. But that's why I always say we have to have collective interest, not nothing else. It's not about melanin, it's not about kinky hair, it's not about none of that, because these people are very conservative and they come from places where sometimes they like the big man politics, the dictator politics. We don't know. That ain't our business. But this ain't your business either. Go home. You ain't got no business cheerleading any American president. Go take a nap. Anyway, fam, I'm gonna let you go.
But you know, I will say too, isn't it kind of weird, a little strange even? Why? I mean, it makes sense almost if you see Nigerian Americans doing that, but this was over in Nigeria.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I said
so
it was so odd.
I'm just kind of confused, like what,
But that's why I said it was so strange to me. Like, I've never seen nothing like that. Who does that? But anyway, fam, I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna let some people in.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate it. And I just want to say very quickly, ADOS stand. Make sure we look after this election. Before this election, we still got to survive. Y'all still do what y'all are supposed to do. Get up in the morning, go, take care of your business.
Absolutely.
Do not allow this to stop and distract you. And continue after this election to keep our feet on their necks until they realize how seriously we are about ADOS politics. Absolutely. All right, y'all have a good night.
Absolutely, fam. Appreciate you. I'm going to my next caller. I'm going to 215. 215, what is your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, what's going on, man? How you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. I ain't got no complaints.
Awesome. Hey, listen, I got my daughter up, and she had something to say. Go ahead, there.
I'm a big fan of your video.
That's what I'm talking about. You got the babies on the line.
When I told her out that I had called you, I had to let her stay up so that she could say, I watch. She's 5 years old, but we watch you all the time.
Oh, that's wonderful, fam. I appreciate you. Listen to the baby. Baby gonna do politics, you watch.
Yeah, she's jumping on the bed and everything. She's super excited. I just want to say, just to Tone's point, is that, and I actually I had a very lengthy discussion on Facebook about this yesterday. By the way, ADOS Philly, the Latino vote, the Latino men's vote is going to win Trump, Florida. And they're still going to blame black men. We're still going to get blamed. If Trump loses, if Trump wins, we will get blamed. If Biden wins, we'll get no credit. It's like a no-win situation for us. And I'm excited. I'm sorry, but I definitely wanted to bring that up and say that it's a shame that how the Latino vote isn't held accountable. The white woman vote isn't held accountable. The only vote that's held accountable, the only people that's held accountable is black men in this election, and it's just really, it's just sad.
And it's grading on a curve because and it's grading on a curve because I said, and it's grading on a curve because you're not holding them to the same standard that you hold everybody else to. So that's another problem.
Exactly.
That's another issue. It's not the same standard. Like, if black men, like when you looked at, we brought it up before, the Latino men versus black men in terms of black men vote overwhelmingly more Democratic than Latino men do. So then what's with the sliding scale? Don't make no sense.
I really honestly believe it's the gatekeepers. I think it's the gatekeepers. I think that they have to position themselves so that they can continue to work and be that representation of
the black community, and I think that once it's shown that they had no connection to the black community and that they don't speak for us, then they're out. They have no purpose, and they will be just cast aside. So they have to find some sort of nonsensical scapegoat. I mean, it's just that, again, they're in a position like a lot of people on the media, which is fake news. I hate to say that because it's a Trump euphemism, but a lot of these black people, they do put out fake news. They're not anchored in us as far as ADOS, and they're just there because they have brown skin. They have dark brown skin. So it's assumed that they are somehow tied or connected to ADOS. And in moments like this, they're exposed as not being connected to us at all. They don't speak for us, and that's one of the models that I'm going to push now is that if you don't speak for us, talking about just the Van Jones and the Mark Lamont Hills, and they don't speak for us, and they never spoke for us, and they're being exposed, and I don't know what the future is going, what the future holds for them, but I don't know.
I agree with you, fam. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I agree with you wholeheartedly. And we got to, but you raise the babies like you're raising the baby. That's what we got to do, because this thing has to go on. We can't have this kind of politics that we've had for this long. It just can't stand. And that's kind of where we are.
Yeah, and again, it's just the fact that there's no one speaking for us. There's no one speaking for the ADOS members that's in the community that are impoverished. We don't have a representative anywhere on media that speaks for us and that speaks to us. And that's why they just keep getting these polls wrong. They keep getting everything wrong because no one is speaking for us. No one is speaking up for that, for the black people that's making $25,000-$30,000 a year, that's living in public housing, that no one's speaking for us. And that disconnect is becoming wider and wider and wider, and again, it's planned obsolescence. There's no room for us. There's no need for us anymore. We're just going to continue to be pushed.
They're trying to let us die out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. Thank you, fam. I appreciate you calling in.
Thank you. Yvette Carnell. So shout out to you. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to talk. I'm kind of nervous and shell-shocked, but thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
The baby. Your best friend, every friend.
Thank you, fam. That warms my heart. I'm good for the rest of the night. Oh, I love it. Oh, we raised it up. The babies who love it. Come on, you gonna love these politics. Thank you, fam. We got the babies in the house. The wonderful little. We got wonderful little $8 babies that's in here. Little $8 black babies who in it. I love it, fam. Ooh, political culture. Political culture is what we raising up in here. Beautiful little babies, and they loving politics. Let me go to the next caller. 757, I'm coming to you. 757, what is your name? Where you calling from? And who's going to win tonight?
Hi, Yvette. This is Sloan speaking. Put me on after the kid, man. Oh, man, this is not good. Competing with a kid, man. It's not good. Who's going to win? Well, look. First of all, let me just say I had a wonderful election day. Oh, I had so much fun at the polls. But who's going to win? Oh, man, I'm in Virginia, so there's a problem there. I would say if it goes past tonight, if they have to do all this counting here and there, then it's definitely got to be Trump. So I can't really predict tonight. Tonight's one of those squeaker things. If Pennsylvania falls for Biden, then I guess it's Biden. But if it don't, and he's in big trouble. I look at Pennsylvania, really. That's me. So anyway, how I voted today. Do you want to know that?
Go right ahead. Talk about it.
Oh, okay. I should tell you this. That 2 years ago, when we had a municipal election here in Chesapeake, I had the honor of writing in ADOS. Now, this time, because the way the ballot is, we only had We had 2 initiatives. All the local stuff, the sheriff stuff that had going on for years. So we had the president, the senator, and the congressman. The 2 congress people, even though they're 2 black dudes, one's Republican, one's Democrat, they're both like the same kind of talking points that they get from wherever they get it from. So I had an opportunity to write in www.ados on that line. That was good. Then you had a question?
No, I said okay. I just said okay. That's all I said.
Then in the Senate line, again, the incumbents, he'll just kill that guy. No good. So I don't want to waste my breath there. So I wrote in www.producejustice.com. So I got that in. So then that left the president line, what I wanted to do was vote green, but then, because the sister that called me a week ago, something like that, she said, no, if we could overtake the NAACP, we might overtake the Green Party. I was thinking, yeah, let me vote green down here. But unfortunately, green is not on the ballot down here. So I said, okay. So now here's my choice now. So I had the libertarian woman. I wasn't really feeling her. Of course, I had to buy in the Trump guy, right? So I go like, oh man, this is good. This is going to be bad because I can't stand. My problem is, I have a problem with Biden, sure, but I can't understand why we let the wool be pulled over our eyes. If Biden gets in here, I hate to say this, I have to say it, I'm sorry, but in the odd years, in the old years, that's when people die in office, presidents die in office. That means we got K.D. Harris is going to be the president. That means that we have Pelosi has all of the power. Pelosi has all of the power, and I just couldn't stand that, so I had to vote against Biden. So I voted less of 2 evils. So I actually voted for yes, the Duff Man. Crucify me if you will, but I had fun doing it because I just felt like it was like I'm punching somebody. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, but I apologize to my peoples, but that's just the way it went. But I got 2 out of 3 is not bad. I got 8 I produced justice. I'm through. Thank you so very much. Let me enjoy my Guinness.
All right, fam. All right.
All right. Take care.
All right, fam. I appreciate you. Oh my God, I ain't never seen us have so much fun on election day. I honestly have not. I'm going right now to caller. I'm going right now to 253. I'm coming to you. 253. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, Vet. This is C. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Oh, trying to survive election day. I'm getting on decaf coffee now, so you know how that is. Oh man, what a day! What a day! So anyway, I enjoyed what Intone and you have to say about what's going on in recent events, but I took the lesser of the 2 evils, but it wasn't Trump. I thought about it long and hard about down balloting, but to be honest with you, you and Antone brought me back to reading the Constitution of the United States, and I went strictly down to the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment. And Antone talked about the transformation of ADOS, the mind, body, and spirit. And what is it we're going to be leaving the next generation? I'm over 60 years old. Okay. Do I leave you money, which I don't have, or do I leave you policy? So I had to do a lot of soul searching, and what really pushed me over the edge was the COVID situation that did affected me personally. I can't speak for everybody here. I was affected personally by COVID. I couldn't fly back to bury my dad, who's a veteran.
Sorry to hear
that. COVID, and well, I wasn't alone. A lot of us were dealing with it. That sent me over the edge. That in itself. And then the fact that I looked around and I saw generational families raising kids, staying at home, and trying to economically survive. And I was like, my God, what the hell? So why am I afraid? I didn't have a choice with the Democrats or the Republicans. A lot of my family members to this day, well, what's left of them, they're hardcore Republicans. I am not a hardcore Republican. I am not a hardcore Democrat. I am an independent voter. And I like to keep it that way. I don't want nobody determining my vote. I determine which way my vote goes. The other end of it is that I pay taxes. Whether we like it or not, we have a say, and I believe in that. What I run into the frustration level is how many people do not want to get off their high knees and get educated, even jumping on your shows and learn about the Constitution and how valid we are to the Constitution. That was that was the turning point to why I went out and said, Yvette's got a point and Tone's got a point. I should go down ballot. But then I step back with my vote. This is my vote. I said, that's like buying, tools to build a house. You're fitting the bill, but you're not allowed to be participating in building your own house. You know what I'm saying? So I went ahead, whether like it or not, the lesser of the two, and I did go the Democratic way. I want us all to get well. I want more programs to get out there. I pay taxes. We got to find a way out, get back on our feet, and that's the way how I saw it. I hope things will change by tomorrow. I am from Ohio. They have voted in the red state. I hope they don't. I don't want Ohio in red, but it's out of my hands. All I can do is participate by exercising my right to vote and do the best I can in getting educated. I cannot be concerned about Latinos in one town, whites in the other, and who else. I'm concerned. I stay on my side of the street. I make sure that my little hiney is out there voting. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I've been doing, and I'm staying off the caffeine tonight. I am watching the elections, and it's tough. It's tough watching. It's stress.
All right. Thank you, caller. I appreciate you. I appreciate you calling in. I see that. See, the thing with me is that I think everybody has to kind of back off away from that, right? Because that's what we always do. Like, I appreciate the caller calling and kind of saying what she felt, in the sense of, like, listen, I was involved and I was active, and I appreciate that. I think it comes down to strategy, though, for me, in the sense of, this is I don't want to be pushed into this lesser of two evil thing every time, to where I get riled up and I say, I ain't gonna take it no more. I ain't gonna take it no more. You're not gonna hit me again. And then I say, well, I got hit again, and I'm just gonna take it. We've always done, and I think that's kind of, for me, that's kind of why down ballot mattered, because we have always kind of said, we've always kind of talked about with Democrat, we're not gonna take it no more. And then when it comes to election day, we kind of take it. So I don't see how that strategy has worked over time. So for me, it's about finding a strategy that actually works. And you can't find a strategy that works without experimenting with different strategies. And that's why dim down ballot is the thing that we do. So wish you all well. I just don't think that's effective. I'm going to my next call. I am going to 951. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, sis. This is once again Larry. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, Larry. How about yourself?
Anytime I can talk to you, we smiling on this side, Biggie. I'll be honest with you. I don't really care who wins, but if I have to, if I had a gun to the back of my head and they said choose right now, I'll be like, I'm gonna have to say Trump is gonna win, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I know Tone thinks totally different, and much love to him. Mm-hmm. However, same thing happened when Hillary Clinton ran, right? The problem is right now, the numbers that we're looking at is skewed, right? We're not being told the true numbers. Okay. On one station, we're being told certain numbers. On other stations, we're being told other numbers. They did this with Hillary Clinton too, Okay. And as much as people hate to admit it, the Democrats be rigging elections as well. And this is actually one of their tactics to do so. But at the end of the day, Trump still came out on top. The reason why is because he had more people mobilizing for him, okay? And so I'm going to have to be 100% honest with you. The brother that called right before me, much love, much respect to him. But, he said he's been listening to you and Tom for a minute. You guys made him go back to the Constitution and really look at the amendments and things like that. But I'm going to be honest with you. I believe it to be a bunch of bull crap. Not to say his feelings are, I just feel like that's all bull crap. Because if he's been listening to you, he would understand why we were stepping away from the lesser of two evils. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And a lot of us who have been listening did opt out of selecting one of the lesser of two evils. You get what I'm saying? So
I understand exactly what you're saying.
Trump's voters don't look at him to be the lesser of any evils. Trump's voters look at him to be a saint. I mean, a lot of them believe in this QAnon stuff. A lot of them believe in a lot of different things where they believe Trump. And to be honest with you, like when you look at like the sex trafficking numbers or how many people have been brought in for sex trafficking and stuff, Trump has the highest numbers as of right now. So his constituents are looking at that and saying, well, he's bringing down the deep state and he's here for us. And, you know, Biden just ain't got that. You know what I'm saying? Biden just don't have that, you know. And at the end of the day, you know, and then there's other people, and I was having a conversation with a friend of mine the other day, and he was saying, you know, I was asking him just for kicks and giggles, hey, who are you going to vote for? You don't have to tell me if you're not comfortable. I said, because that's your right. I said, but if you're going to vote, if you feel comfortable, tell me who you're going to vote for. And he said, you know what? If I was to vote, I'm going to vote for Trump.
Wow.
And that's interesting because he's a black man. So and he's not rich. I mean, he's a hard-working 9-to-5er. You know what I'm saying? Who was laid off. So I'm like, okay, this is interesting. So why would you do that? And he said, man, to be honest with you, he says, look, it's not really so much about the Biden crime bill. It's not really so much about Kamala Harris and her top record. He said it's not really so much about them weaponizing the system beyond comprehension into the most draconian situations that I've been around a while. He said, to be honest with you, I'd vote for Trump just because he seems like he wants me to believe him. You know, and when it comes to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, they just don't care about us. They just don't care flat out. And this isn't the only person that's given me this answer. Another person who gives me this answer was another black person that I deal with closely, you know. But this person is an immigrant. And she told me, she said, to be honest with you, she said, I'm in favor of defunding the police. I said, okay, that's interesting. So tell me about it. And she was like, well, most people believe that defunding the police means that, you know, we want the police out of the community. And I'm like, that's what it sounds like. She said, well, the truth of the matter is, and interesting enough, she has good points, some of these police departments get major budgets when it comes to what they get annually. They get the budgets of some small countries. I mean, New York gets, over $1.3 billion for their police department? And they can't afford police reform, but yet they can afford military-grade weapons. So when they get into these riot situations, they can attack us further and further. So looking at it from that perspective and listening to people that I've actually been around, I don't think that Biden's going to win. If he does, doesn't really matter. It's just the same person with a different face, except this time this person actually is competent enough to put laws and implement things that's going to make us go into deeper draconian situations. So,
you're saying so Trump's incompetent. So you're saying that Trump's incompetence is actually important in terms of like what he can't do.
Oh, definitely. See, here's one of the major things. Trump, he's intelligent on a level, right? He can't be stupid because Trump is a 5-tier chess player, right? A 5-dimensional chess player. Nobody who's a 5-dimensional chess player, him and his son, his youngest son, nobody who's a 5-dimensional chess player is stupid, okay?
Is that right?
We seen the same thing with Bush. Bush was he can speak. He was well spoken. He was sly. I'm talking about Bush Jr. He was sly. He was witty. He was basically Barack Obama for the white folk.
What?
Let's be very clear about that. Soon as he gets into office, this man becomes dumb as hell. I mean, he's saying all the dumbest things that you would think a president should never say. And if you notice, Trump, he's intelligent when it comes to certain things. He can get that money. He can get that bread. But when it comes to certain social issues, certain foreign issues, he's not that intelligent. He has to depend on other people in order to get things done. He's not competent enough to understand his power to destroy. Biden is competent enough to understand, not only understand his power to destroy, but pass it on to Kamala Harris just in case he dies, just in case he decides not to run again.
Got you. No, I got you, fam. I got you, fam. I just got to get some more callers in here, but I got you, fam. And I appreciate you calling. I got to get some more people in here. Let me go to the next caller. I am going to 240. 240. What is your name? Where are you calling from? And who gonna win tonight?
What's going on, Yvette? This is Roz from the DMV.
Roz!
How you doing, sis?
I'm doing good. I'm excited, Roz. The political juices are flowing.
Oh, my goodness, lady. Let me tell you what happened. Leading up to this election, I got a chance to hit the road. I did some road trips.
Okay.
Northern Virginia, which is a short little jump. That's in my region, right? It's right across the way. I saw Trump everywhere. When I went to PA, same thing. And this was not Philly. This is outside of Philly. I love Philly, but I can't do the cheesesteak thing. But this election is like asking somebody who's Muslim, do they want chitlins or hog maw? They don't want none of it, right?
No.
So that's how I felt. Right? Went to the poll today because I was nosy like that. I said, I got to go in and see what's going on. They moved the location to a different part of the building, and it was all like, I would say middle age on down. They didn't have the older folks like they normally have up in there because they not coming out because of COVID. So they had middle age to younger people actually running the polls. They had partitions. It was beautiful. It was like pretty empty too. So on that, I'm like, wait a minute. I guess everybody had done mail-ins that normally comes to the polls because when I went up for Obama, it went down the hall and back down the hall and 3 blocks away from the polling booth to my house, to my corner. It was like, why are these people hanging out here at 5 o'clock in the morning? That was for Obama the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh my God, this is an election line that long? It had to be, it was ridiculous. It had to be at least a quarter of a mile long, right?
Mm-hmm.
This time, I waited 30 seconds, and I do mean 30 seconds to go in. And they had it set up. It was beautiful. Did my little down ballot. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something and be proclaiming it and not do it. That's not who I am.
That's not who you are.
So I did my little down ballot voting, and I had already studied. I think, and then they gave me a beautiful sticker. I loved it. It had the little Maryland flag on it, and the U.S. flag, and rolled up out of there. I took a picture. Y'all can see it. But anyway, I think this is, really coming in. I got a chance to listen to Ed Gordon, and he was the host for the NAACP. They were talking about how now the NAACP is 501c3, 501c4. I had to be doing the 501c4 portion because the guests that they had, I've never seen journalism. Now, I went to school for journalism, a PWI, but I went to school for journalism. And as a journalist, you're supposed to have both sides to make it interesting. Okay, if you're going to talk to people they were just everybody was on one accord. So I don't see a need for a show NAACP where everybody's just agreeing with the status quo of the Democrats. They basically were like, we are going to win. And so I'm sitting in there saying, look, you guys need to check out Dr. Kevin Cosby and the National Christian Church for Reparation.org. I kept putting that in there, and I said, how does the Democrat win equal us winning? We have to stop talking about Democrat winning and conflating that with us as ADOS winning. And there were some people in there that were actually, you know, saying, oh, ADOS is not, and then other people were pushing back, no, ADOS is about us, da-da-da. It was so cool. I love that. I love when our people are of one accord and try to come in and educate the most ignorant of us. And I think that needs to continue happening. Then I turn over and Black Civics is having their podcast, and they got my brother, you know, new young brother Josh, he's in there for my chapter. So it was just, I mean, Friday Jones was on, Chris Logston was on.
Political culture.
I mean, it was dope.
Political
then I'm
culture.
like,
right?
This is my dessert right here on your show. So I just wanted to say thank you for doing the show. I think that whoever the Electoral College is going to pick is going to win. For Texas, I think it's going to be Trump. For Florida, I think it's going to be Trump. Ohio, well, Pennsylvania, I think is going to be Trump. I mean, I think, I don't know. Trump is such a horrible president that he's having a tough time against Joe Biden. I love what you said yesterday. I think it should be part of something else. The alliteration killed me. The guy is kind of Ku Kluxish. If you, I fell out. I couldn't hear anything for like 5 minutes.
He's kind of, what's it? It's not Clue though. It's Cool, ain't it? Ku Klux. But I say he's kind of Ku Kluxish.
Yeah, you said kind of. You said, oh, this guy. You gonna vote for this guy who's kind of Ku Kluxish? I fell out. I was like, oh my God. But peace to everybody. I'm not gonna stay on here long. I just wanted to take you through that. I think that. I mean, it's kind of hard to see Trump actually win. I think that the Electoral College may slide him in there. I don't slide Biden in just because they can't, you know, maybe it's messing up their numbers. I don't know. But I'm thinking that Biden wins by sliver.
By hair.
But Trump is so weak. It's like he is such a weak.
But let me just. I don't even think. Let me just. Yeah, it's just like, dude, you're fighting neck and neck with Trump. Like you're fighting neck and neck. Understand how much people don't want you. If the guy who let COVID run rampant is like everybody's like, yeah, I get that, but I don't want that. But I heard a great interview with some people who don't wear masks, and it's just like America has totally misunderstood freedom. Like they think they were talking about, well, I'm just kind of tired of masks. That's not how any of this works. If the disease is caused by that, then you wear the thing. You know, I understand businesses. I understand their angst. I don't understand people who say, well, I'm just kind of tired of wearing it. Well, then let your lungs fill up with fluid and stuff. You know, but I don't want you to pass it on. That's the issue. I don't want you to pass that on. Hey, Roz, they said in the chat you need your own show.
Look. People say it's going on fast. Talking about I need my own show.
Yeah, they want to see Roz.
I'm sitting up in here doing my thing. I'm gonna let y'all know this too. Be safe out here because that COVID is kicking back up. I have known people who have gotten sick and were like close to near death, and people who have passed. So wear your mask. Be a superhero. Wear that mask. You superheroes, right? ADOS superheroes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm out. Peace.
All right, Roz. I sure do appreciate you. Shout out everybody doing politics. We're not just doing what people expect us to do. It's not saying that we can't do that, but we can do a whole lot of stuff. We can do more than one thing. We not no one trick pony. What y'all look at us for? We're not no mule either, Democrats. We're gonna teach y'all. Anyway, going to the next call. I am going to 415. What is your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hello, my name is Josiah Edwards. I'm in Los Angeles. How are you doing, Yvette?
I'm doing all right. I cannot complain. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. So I'm calling in because I'd actually called in about a year ago, and you might not remember. It was during the primary, and I was the caller who called in talking about they were going to work for volunteer for the Harris campaign when she was still running. Way back.
Oh, okay.
And you told me to call back and call how the experience was on the Harris campaign. And just to be clear, I got out maybe a week after that call, so I wasn't there for very long. But I want to be clear about a couple of things, which is that I had hopped off the Harris train a little while after that.
Okay.
And it was a large part because of what I was hearing from with ADOS and what was going on, but I was done. I was just not gonna, be able to deal with the stuff, particularly with, given the relationship I have with my uncles who had been incarcerated in part because of, possession of a little bit of marijuana under a Harris as Attorney General. So, it doesn't make sense for me to have voted in that direction. So during the Democratic primary, I voted Democratic down ballot and put ADOS at the top of the ticket.
Absolutely. Absolutely, fam.
Yeah, exactly. And so I was struggling a little bit with that by the general election. And the reason I struggled with it is because, as we often do, is we put, the larger hope of the country in front of us as an individual group. We oftentimes, as ADOS, say, we believe democracy is the most important thing. And to be honest, I believe it is. But oftentimes that comes with the detriment of us as ADOS.
Absolutely.
And I struggled a little bit, but today I turned my ballot and I did the same thing with ADOS at the top of the ticket and Democratic down ballot. The thing that kind of just, made me, and this is kind of a different story from the earlier caller who said he done the opposite. The thing that made me, make that decision, one, is because I'm in California, so we were going blue anyway. But also, I think that I know that I, as an individual, and many black folks in general, just do the work of democracy in and of itself. We already know that a vote is just an expression or one tool in the toolkit, right? And so I think that when it comes to the work that, you have to do to make democracy work, black people do that far and above any other group in America.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think when it comes specifically to ADOS interests, and when it comes to the expression on the ballot, that is where it is most important and imperative for me to make that expression. And so that is what I did.
I think that's, and I think you got to choose you. I think that should be one of our new expressions. Like, choose you. We got to choose ourselves. Like, we can't just choose democracy while we fail. We have to choose ourselves. That's key to everything.
Right, exactly. And I also think that, it's not democracy if, your interests aren't being represented in the first place, right? If you're not just going to vote because you think that, because, your mama was a Democrat and your daddy was a Democrat and your grandfather and your grandmother were Democrats.
That's what Chance the Rapper said. That's what he said. He said, you just vote because your mama and vote how your mama vote. Yes, it can't be. This is not something that's how you vote is not inherited. Right? That's not what we're doing. It's not like I got my mama nose or whatever. We're not doing inherited. That's not what we're doing. But I'm gonna let you finish, fam.
But yeah, so that's how it shook down for me. Now, as to who I think is going to win, well, it sure isn't looking good for Biden in Florida right now. There's a massive polling error must have happened there because the polls were predicting that Biden would be ahead by about 4 points. That just didn't happen. And in part because of what Tone said and what everybody else was talking about is that you have that huge Cuban and Venezuelan population in Florida who have largely expressed that they don't give a damn about, what has been happening, right? And so they were hook, line, and sinker for Trump with what's been going on. And so I think that that's the way that that may not be the way the election is shaking out, but that's the way it's shaking out in Florida. I think Biden might, as Roz said, might eke out a win in the Electoral College.
But what's your final call though? What's your final one? If you had somebody who had a gun to your head or whatever, what would it be?
I would say Biden, but just barely.
Okay. All right. That's fair enough, fam. All right, fam.
All right.
I appreciate you. Let me get off here. I'm going to my next call, fam. I am going now to 786. 786. What is your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind? Who gonna win?
How you doing, Yvette?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm calling from Columbia, South Carolina.
What's going on?
I'm gonna take you back. I'm gonna take you back down memory lane. I spoke with you last year tomorrow, and I was the one. My son was born. and I spoke to you later that night on the show.
Oh, I remember that you had a brand new baby.
Gonna be one in less than an hour and a half. And I just want to say, thank you as usual for what you do and everything you and Tone do and bring to the table for us to learn and keep educating ourselves. Me personally, I didn't vote. I'm still.
Come on, fam.
I'm still on the fence of,
No, we gonna be on the fence no more, fam. We gotta show up. We gotta show up and show out now. Now we ain't gotta vote for everybody on there. That ain't what we gotta do. But we gotta make some choices. Life is about choices. So much of life is about choices, fam. Don't ever forget that your life, a lot of stuff can just happen to you. I'm not saying that, but so much of life is about choices, fam. Come on now, you gotta come with me.
Yeah.
Come on this journey with me.
Yeah.
We love to have you.
I've been riding. I've been a little mute lately. I just been listening and learning and understanding. But it get kind of depressing, and I just man, I had to take a step back to get my energy back right, because this thing been killing me, and I've been riding and listening to you and Tone since last year's summer. So I'm up to date with what's going on. But I just couldn't be a part of the game that's been played for the last 50-some years.
Well, it's part, let me just say, fam, it's all part of the game. But let me just say, there's another way to play the game. It ain't just one way to play this game. There's a way to play this game and win. Yeah. But let me just say this. You can't play it and win until you experiment with the game, right? So what we've been doing wrong is that we just been showing to vote for Democrats. We're going to experiment. Okay, we do down ballot, Democrat down ballot this time. Okay, we're going to do something else next time. We're going to figure this game out and grow till we win. And let me just say this, fam. There's no reason to get depressed about anything. Everybody should be happy that we are in this fight. This is a wonderful fight. It's a righteous fight. And you should be happy that you are alive at a point to have this kind of righteous fight and be on the right side of history and fight for your people. Ooh, it makes me excited to think about it. And you got to get up like that. Don't be depressed. Don't let these people make you feel sad and I don't think it's going to work. No. You're not doing that. You told me you had you talking about you got babies. We talked the last time about the baby. You making this right for the baby. That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing.
Yes.
And you can't see it. Listen, understand, some stuff you can't see right now. Some stuff look real bad and it look real bleak and I can't see no way out. Then boom, all of a sudden you got just enough critical mass to push it to make it happen. Don't give up on it, fam. It's coming. Don't give up on it.
Oh yeah, but it was more so, with us as American people, and I'm talking about my black people. It was more saddening to me on that side, just to watch over the last year how you had to defend yourself, Tone had to defend himself. We had people like Tariq and Roland Marr and all these other people that's it was more like we playing tug of war with each other. Instead of the real purpose of this thing, and that what was kind of.
Let me just say this, fam. Part of the thing that has to happen too. Please understand that there are other ADOS that have to be taken out because they are engaging in a grift. It's not a bad thing. You got to get out of the way so I can fight white supremacists. You trying to fight me. Let me get you out of my way so I can fight the people that I need to fight. I'm going to scoot your butt on along and you're going to be defeated too. Now, it's going to take a minute, but you're doing some weird stuff in terms of fighting me and always attacking me. So listen, I'm going to fight you back. We're going to get you off to the side and then we're going to keep on moving. It's only a small thing, fam. All these people who we've been messing with or whatever, these people are little small things in the scheme of things. And eventually, I said this before, and I'm gonna leave it at this, fam. I said this before, and I'm gonna let you go. I appreciate it. I got all 4 calls. I'm trying to get everybody through. So thank you for calling, fam.
Oh and yeah, I know.
Kiss the baby for me. Kiss the baby. All right, I appreciate you, babies. Baby. Kiss them for me. Listen, I understand that what we have to see this as is. This is the continuation of the civil rights movement. And it don't matter who don't see it. Everybody ain't got to see everything at the same time. They'll see it when they see it. And we'll eventually get all these people out of the way so we can fight who we need to fight. Don't worry about them. Don't stay up at night thinking about them. Think about where we're headed and what we're doing and what this movement has to look like. Ain't nobody thinking about Roland or Tariq too much. We'll fight them and toss them around or whatever. But that's small beans. We got real institutional systemic white supremacy that we got to fight. Small beans. We do it because we got to. But in the scheme of things, small beans. So that's what it is. So anyway, I'm going to my next call. I am going now to I am going now to 954. 954, what's your name? Where you calling from? Who's going to win?
Hi, Yvette.
Hey.
I am Consuelo Davis. I am located here in Hollywood, Florida.
Okay.
I am going to predict that Donald Trump is going to win.
Really?
I'm here in Florida. I'm in Hollywood. There are signs out everywhere in my neighborhood. Also, certain businesses have signs out. A lot of the people that I've been around, it's just his country. I mean, this is Florida.
Ooh.
So, I mean, I've seen so many people and talked to people. You know, it's about Trump, and they're okay with him. So, with that, I thought I had turned my mother to vote down ballot, and
she switched up on you.
Talking and having conversations.
I said she switched up on you. I've been hearing that a lot today. People say my mama switched up on me.
Yeah, I had a conversation with my mother. We had some great conversations. I thought she was really going to go and vote down ballot. Well, when she finally went to vote, and I asked her, she said she voted for Biden. And I was like, yeah. And I don't know if it's our boomer generation is just a habit, and they don't really understand what we're attempting to do now politically for our community. So, I was just like, okay, well, what happens if Trump wins? I asked her that because I'm like, your Social Security may be, at risk. And so she was like, well, I'm hoping Biden wins because at least then my Social Security won't be at risk. So, but being here in Florida, I'm seeing it totally different. And another thing, I love that you are speaking about we taking care of ourselves. I have interacted and talked to people here, and just learning about what is happening. A lot of the monies that are funneled into certain communities, I've learned they're supposed to go to Adolf, but because we have such a large immigrant population, those monies go to the immigrants. And it was so funny today that I received a text. Okay, so my name is Consuelo, right?
Oh.
So my name is Spanish, right? But it's not spelled, it's like Spanish way.
Okay.
So,
gotcha.
For some reason, I received a text today from the Florida Immigration Coalition. And they were asking me if I needed a ride to the polls. So I was like, I'm going to play along because I've already voted, and I voted down ballot, and I knew who they were. So she's asking me if I needed a ride, and I was like, is it free? And she said, up to $25, depending on where you're located. They had a partnership with Lyft. So I was telling her, I'm not voting. I'm not going to vote for, white supremacists or bigots. And I said that. So she says, well, there's other things on the amendment to vote for. And marginalized communities really need your vote for some of, these programs, monies, and all these different things. And I said to her, I can't do that because I am African American, and I know now that much of the money that's supposed to go into my community is now going into the immigrant community. And one of the things my friend, he's been here for 20 years, what he told me was when the Cubans started coming into Florida, and even some of the other immigrants, what they did was they took most of the set aside for the African American communities, and of course, transferred it to them. So that is what is happening in Florida, and why many of them have so much power here, and we don't have that. We don't have the power politically at all.
I keep seeing different things. Have they called Florida yet? Anybody? Have they called it yet? Woo. Yeah, but I've heard. That was but it's interesting. I think what you're talking about is kind of resettlement programs and where those funds go. That's kind of why I like funds to be allotted, and like laws that that you have to spend the money on what the money was allotted for. You can't move it around. I kind of like those kind of laws because a lot of our money gets moved around. Remember when we saw the thing when we were talking about George Floyd and that murder? Remember we saw the thing about how the 1994 crime bill had a bunch of money in it for treatment that never made its way down to the people who were supposed to get it, who was namely ADOS. And so that was what they call like this unfunded mandate, right? And so like I think I think that money went somewhere. Like it could be unfunded, but I think that money probably moved somewhere. But I know during the opioid crisis the money moved to white America. I know that, right? So I'm wondering why we still haven't got our money.
And also even some of these nonprofits, like, you know, they get these grants to service marginalized communities, and it may be, you know, you spend so much in this community and that community, but what happens is, what I've noticed is a lot of even these nonprofit organizations, they pick these other minority organizations and make sure they receive the money as well. I will say this, I'm in mental health, and we are holding, if you don't mind, can I plug our
sure, go ahead.
healing circle this Sunday?
Go right ahead.
We have a healing circle. Yeah, we have a healing circle, and it's open for you, whomever. We've been advertising it or sending out the flyer on Twitter, and I am one of the therapists that will be facilitating and co-hosting. And I would like to say to you, Yvette, Tone, I love your insight and your vision. I have gravitated to the ADOS fam, and in mental health and how it correlates, it's huge. It is so huge, and I think that is an area where we will be able, at some point in time, people will be able to see, oh wow, I've been walking a little, you know, in this fog, and now I can see things a little bit clearer. So I will say that, and get off your line.
Thank you, fam. I appreciate that. That was a mouthful. I sure do appreciate it. Let me go.
I appreciate you.
Oh,
have a good one. Thank you.
You too, fam. You too. You have a good one as well. I'm bringing something else up, fam. Let me bring this other caller in here. I'm going now to 404. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hi, Yvette. This is Dawn from Atlanta. How are you tonight?
I'm doing pretty all right. How you doing? I can't complain about nothing. Let me get this off my screen. Let me get this.
So are you going to ask me the question?
Yeah, who gonna win?
I think Biden's gonna end up winning.
Okay.
It's looking like it's gonna be close. I think that, you know, I said, oh my gosh, I got all kind of screens and group chats going from people going back and forth that I argued about, because when I told them I was voting down ballot, of course everybody was like, I literally got just long messages from my friends like, what's wrong with you? Our ancestors fought and we, you know, died for slavery. I was like, listen, I'm a super voter. I don't need you to harass me about what it is to vote. I said, I always vote. I'm going to vote in this election. However, at what point do we actually say stop disrespecting us? I said, Trump is bad, but I go, Biden them, I think you had it up on one of the shows, literally said that we're going to put together a task force on the black stuff, but immigrants that are not Americans, they're not even citizens, we're going to make sure it's a pathway for them to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So I said, how is that okay with you? How are you not offended? And so I said, and they were like, well, get them in the office and then we can talk. And I go, I said, and I always have friends, I would say in general, they're very book smart, right? These are very successful people. And I said, is that really the way you negotiate? Do you negotiate after somebody gets what they want? Or do you negotiate when they need you? So it's been really, really interesting. So now the messages are flying back. And I said, and I'm asking for people to respond. I go, it's crickets out there. Why is Biden not, I thought this was going to be a landslide. Why is he not throwing it out of the water? Why are people not showing up in these black rural votes? Why are Hispanics? You would think that Hispanics, why are they voting for Trump? What happened? What's going on? And I go, at the end of the day, is what we were saying. Kamala and Joe are super weak. They offer nothing. They had no kind of strategy. They had no good, solid policy. I'm sorry, go ahead. What were we going to say?
No, I just said, ooh.
You know, like when I say like we're going back and forth and they're like backpedaling, and I'm like, but here's the thing: if more black people had stood up and just said, listen, we need you to be very specific about us, exactly what we're, you know, of course I try to get people to listen. They're like, Al, it's too radical for me. I go, no, it's not radical. You know, every now and, you know what I mean? Like, it's people are it's so hard for them to see past what they've always done. Earlier, I think you and a caller were talking about your mom and them voted, so now you have to. Now, I even said this to my friends. I said, do you really think you need to literally school me on that black people die for voting rights? Do you think I don't vote? Are you that stupid? I go, who do you think you're talking to? You know, like literally, I'm falling out with people. I mean, we'll get back. We'll get back to friends at some point. But it's really interesting. So, and that's the thing I keep asking of so many of my black friends. I said, please help me understand, why is this so close? Like, why is this vote so close? You know, so, and I still think Biden's going to end up winning, but I think that if he had been stronger in his strategy and he had addressed, even some of the white people on some of the things that I've listened to, they said if he had come out and truly addressed issues what people were concerned with, he really would have had a landslide. But he didn't say anything, so people were like, I don't understand. You know, so that's why. I do think again that he is going to win. Now, all right, I always get confused. I'm looking at the balance of power. So the Senate, the Democrats. What do we have before? I always forget. Was it the House or the Senate? Where do they always block us? Is it the Senate?
Well, you know, Mitch McConnell's running that Senate over there. You got the House in terms of Democrats.
Okay, so the House of Democrats. So that's what I was thinking, because they said that. So the Democrats have kept control of the House, and it looks like we're up in the Senate. So we may have votes.
They up in the Senate, but I don't know. So it's possible. I don't call anything till the ducks come home. But yes, that's what I just saw when I just put out.
So that was the other thing that I was feeling like. Of course, you know, you're in Georgia too. You're in Atlanta, in the Atlanta area with me. And so, you know, of course, I was telling people, you know, people like Ossoff and Warnock, like, we've got to get people in where they make the laws, right? And that's going to be the House and the Senate. That's going to be way more important than the actual president, because you can see the president's over there begging them to get deals done, because at the end of the day, it comes down to the House and the Senate. You know? So that I'm hoping, they just called Florida. So Trump won Florida. They just called it.
Oh, Lord of mercy. What? Oh,
yeah,
Lord of mercy. Let me look up some stuff.
It's going to be, I mean, I still feel like Biden's going to win.
Yeah, he still, there's a pathway. Yeah.
I'm sorry?
I said there's a pathway.
Yeah, there's a pathway. It's going to be interesting, but I will tell you this, and then I'll get off. I think, so this is what's interesting. I think if Biden wins, I really do think we're going to have more civil unrest. I think we're going to truly see a lot of domestic terrorism.
Oh my!
I really do feel as though it's going to be very, very ugly. I don't think Biden is strong enough to be able to control those militias, and I just don't think he's strong enough to be able to control what's going to happen if he wins. Trump, I don't think it'll be as bad when it comes to the civil unrest. If Trump wins, of course, I just think everything else is going to change. I just think we're screwed either way, to be quite honest with you. I mean, people are like, do you care who wins? I said, no, I think no matter which way we go, I just think that America's just falling as a superpower, and just everything that comes with that is just, we're going to be, I don't know if I can say the S word, but like a shithole country.
Yeah, don't say the S word. We got cheering watching. We got cheering, but thank you, fam. I appreciate it, though. We got, thank you, fam. I appreciate it. Old prognosticator extraordinaire, Tone Talks is back. He done text me and said something is popping off. So what is popping? What is popping, Antonio? Tell me about it.
I know you lied. It's a lot popping off.
What's going on?
I sent you 4 images.
I only got 2.
4 images. All right, it's 3 different emails. It's 4 images.
First
thing that we seeing right now is the path for Trump to win somehow is opening up. It's opening up wider. And then we saw before. Hello?
I'm here.
You there?
I'm here.
Okay. And so the states that you know, that he was supposed to be taking, we done lost to Florida. They done gave up on Georgia, I think. North Carolina, they still hoping for, but they saying that they wavering on that. So it's looking like this nation is splitting down the middle. We always knew it was down the middle, but even the state that he might take back from Trump, which is Arizona, that means that the Democrats gonna take the West, and then the Republicans are the South and the Midwest, and that's who decides the presidency. And so, like, what you see is that's one thing going on. The second thing that's interesting is there's an exit poll that was just done. Matt Brunick put it out from the Edison. It shows some things, Yvette. If you can pull that up.
I'm finna.
It says it ain't just black men. It says every group other than white men is voting higher for Trump. Black women are 4 points higher for Trump so far. Black men are 4 points higher for Trump. Something is going on. Something is in the water. Now, I'm not advocating for this. You can't put it on no Adolf. But I'm saying to you that this exit poll says this whole blame black men thing has been a wash. It says that, let me actually read the Edison poll to get it right. It says white men are down 5%. They're down 5%. White women are up 2. Black men are up 4. Black women are up 4. Latino men are up 3. And Latino women are up 3. Now, it's early, but I'm just saying to you, I want to hear from all the black women that said that they're the blue checks, but I don't have to wait. There's a tweet that Jamil Hill just put out. Jamil Hill done flipped up on us. This is the same woman that ran around blaming black men. She done put out a tweet, Yvette.
Let me find it.
Her newest tweet, it says, if Trump wins re-election, it's on white people, no one else. What we've been dealing with the last 3 weeks.
Let me see if wait a minute. Hold on 1 second, please. Why is my laptop always... Oh.
She basically stole Adolf's talking point. We told you it was on white people. We told you that white people is the one that voted for him.
Yeah, Dodo Bird.
So overall, what you see is everybody is seeing Adolf told you. Understand, this is an indictment of Kamala Harris as a VP choice. This is an indictment of Biden as the presidential choice. Even if he squeaks by on a win, this is an indictment of the DNC and their approach, not only to black voters, but to the entire nation in terms of addressing agenda items rather than running on Never Trump. Running on Never Trump was not enough. We told you that.
We told you that. We said an agenda driven. You said, well, we ain't Trump.
And I don't know. I don't know what Jamil Hill done drank tonight, but it sounds like he drank Adolf juice. I'm just saying to you, I don't want to hold up everybody. Pull them images up and hit them up. Oh, one last thing, Yvette. Let me say one last thing. The biggest thing I want everybody to take away from tonight, though, is this. And Yvette, please hit this for everybody. If Trump wins, and I'm not saying we're wishing for this, this is an indictment on the entire way we see elections, meaning the whole thought process was if low turnout is how you get a Republican to win this kind of election. If we have historic turnout, we thought the Democrats, like the whole thought is that the Democrats going to win in the landslide. This tells you to go back to what Yvette said about who was actually voting in this historic turnout.
I called it.
This goes back to the whole idea of white folks. This goes back to the whole idea of the very premise. Because understand, if Trump wins with historic turnout, that is for him to walk in and say, y'all gonna let me be president this time. I'm not gonna deal with all the stuff I dealt with last time. Because you got all the turnout and I still won again. I'm just saying, because you get what I'm saying? Yvette?
Yeah, and the thing is, I never understood why anybody said, okay, we have historic turnout at the polls, not just mail-in. Trump told people to go vote in person, and that's what a lot of them did. Why did you think that was necessarily just Democrats? I never understood that.
Yeah, and I never understood the idea that you're gonna just blame black men when the reality is that we live in black homes, there's black families and black communities. But all of a sudden now everybody's switching up, everybody's changing up when these numbers come out.
Well, here's the thing. I know why they blame black men. If we can put you in prison, we can absolutely blame you. If we can do one thing, we can do the other one.
I'm just saying, if you can't pull that tweet up, the Jamil Hill one.
Yes, sir.
I'll let the next caller call in.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Oh, apparently it's popping off. It's popping off. People is tweeting and acting up, fam. I did not know it. I did not know it. What else is going on these Twitter streets, fam? Ooh, it's a lot. It is a lot. Look how close this thing is. Ooh, 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 ooh. It's something. Anyway, let me get back to the calls because people going to be mad at me. Yvette, you let people talk too long. I didn't get in. All right. Let me go now to, let me go to 205. 205, I'm coming to you. What's your name? Where you calling from? Who going to win?
Oh, how you doing, Yvette?
What's going on with you?
Nothing much. This is Joshua from Alabama. Yeah, the way I see it is Trump's gonna win. It's hard to beat an incumbent. And not only will it be hard to beat an incumbent president, the way they did it, you know, they were hostile with ADOS. And that wasn't a good look. But they was not seriously trying to win the election. You know, I think, and I didn't hear nobody say this tonight, and you know, but it's kind of obvious. You know, it's like the elephant in the room. It's like where they going with it is gonna mess them up. It's the same thing they did in 16 with Hillary Clinton. They ran a feminist politics, right? The whole blame black man. We must exclude black males from even being a choice as a VP. You know, a lot of the stuff they did was the same playbook they did in 16, right? But they're gonna do the same thing with AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. That's why I don't even think that this was a real election. Like, if they really wanted to win, like, let's be real. If they really wanted to win, they would have united the Democratic Party by having Bernie Sanders as the VP. That's common sense. They said in 2016 it was Bernie or bust. They made good on it, right? So now they want to act oblivious. They want to act confused, and they don't know how this happening, and you know, etc. But it's really just to throw it off and still run, like I said, keep AOC name in the media and run her 4 more years. You see what I'm saying?
I don't even think. Yeah, I hear you, fam. I don't even think she's gonna be ready. I don't think she's gonna be ready, nowhere near ready in 4. But I understand I understand exactly what you're saying. Like I don't even know what everybody is. I don't even know what everybody is thinking in terms of. Yeah, it was always. Listen, let me just say this too. It's not just. It's not just about being feminist and nothing like that. Let me just understand. Let everybody understand this. Hillary Clinton couldn't even win over white women in mass. Okay, if you can't win over white women, don't come talking to me about nothing. If you can't win over white women, what are we talking about? What are we talking about?
And feminism, but from the beginning, feminism wasn't an authentic movement in the first place. Gloria Steinem admits that she works for the CIA.
That's true.
You know, so the whole thing was really to throw off the momentum of the civil rights movement. You see what I'm saying? And what it seems to me is like, I say like when I voted, how I voted. I did not do the straight Democrat down ballot. I must admit. One reason I did not do the Democratic down ballot because of self-respect. You know, me being a black male, them blatantly, you know, disrespecting black men, you know, in front of the whole world. You know, having this Nas X dress up like a woman, like Nicki Minaj.
I got you. Okay, let's stay to it though.
Yeah, it's just so much stuff. I'm just saying.
I understand.
You know, there was just so much stuff going on that I didn't do it. But let me get to my point I was trying to make. Well, I voted for Terry Sewell, right? But they had an amendment on the ballot where it was like they was trying to change an amendment that was made in the early 1900s in Alabama, where you had to be an American citizen to even vote, right? And so I out, Yvette.
No problem. No problem, fam. I appreciate it. No problem. I appreciate you calling in. I'm going to try to get to some more callers, but I appreciate you calling in, fam. Yeah, we all got to do what we got to do, fam. We all got to do what we got to do. I thank you so much for calling in, fam. I appreciate your voice. I want to hear from as many people as I can this evening. 424-424. I'm coming to you. Oh, I forgot to ask him who's going. What's your name? Where you calling from? And who's going to win? You got to tell me who you think is going to be victorious. 424. I'm coming to you.
Hello?
What's going on, 424? Sound excited now.
Well, my name is John, and I'm from Miami, Florida. And basically, I don't know who's gonna win. And personally, as a black man, I really don't care because I just feel like black people always get the short end of the stick, no matter who's in office. And when I voted for Obama, that's when I seen that come to fruition. It didn't matter who's in office. The police are gonna run rampant. They're gonna still do what they want to do. So I don't put my trust in presidents anymore. And thank you, Yvette, for taking my call and giving everyone a platform to speak on.
Who wins? Do you have a prediction?
I don't know. It's looking like Trump, but I really don't care who wins. I'm just looking at the election just to look at it. To be honest.
Let me tell y'all.
What do you think is gonna win?
I don't know. I think Biden might squeak by, but I don't know. I don't know. I thought Hillary might squeak by, and I was wrong. So I don't know. But I want to thank you for calling in, fam. I'm gonna have a word about it on the other side, but I want to thank you. I appreciate you for calling in. Thank you so much. And let me tell y'all what I kind of feel like. Especially it seems that way with this is like the second black man who called in and say I'm a fan of the show, and I appreciate y'all, but I'm not voting. It kind of sounds a little bit like depression. And I can kind of understand that because depression is what happens when sadness just kind of sticks to you and it don't move and you just kind of in a very, very bad space and you might not even realize that you're in a bad space. But I just think we have to understand that sometimes stuff don't look like what it is. Sometimes stuff does not look like what it is. So he doesn't care. And sometimes that feels like I don't care what's president. And that gives you I don't care. I'm not voting for nobody. And it gives you a feeling of I think we have a lot of apathy towards politics because politics has not done anything for us, right? Or a lot for us since the Voting Rights Act. And even that didn't do what it was supposed to do. And I think we have to understand that. I think we have to take some responsibility. No other way around it. It's not just politics. It's not just these white people or these boule people or the CBC. No, we have not been nearly as active in the political process, and we have not demanded what we needed to demand for a long time. We have been led by people who have told us to just vote Democrat and not do and walk off, and that was going to yield some kind of result. And I think where we are now is that we understand that we have to put ourselves first. That's a different kind of politics than we have ever seen. And this politics can yield something different because it's a different politics than your mama, your daddy, your grandpappy, everybody. No disrespect to them because some of them march with Cain. I'm not saying it. I'm just saying you have to understand that this is a different politics. And so don't just judge it by your life right now at the moment and what you're going through at the moment. Don't opt out because if you opt out of politics, there's a lot of stuff you opt out on. You can opt out on parenthood. You can opt out on life. And that's a suicidal tendency. No, opt in and understand that you are in a good struggle. Everything ain't got to be what it is. We got to be in this in a certain kind of way. And we are in it in a way that we have not been in it before. And I don't know how best to explain it, but that is important. That is absolutely important in terms of what has to happen. So I'm going to my next caller. I'm going right now to 856. 856, what is your name? Where are you calling from? What's on your mind? And who's going to win?
Hello.
What's going on, 856? Who you got?
Yeah, I'm John from Jersey. If I was betting on this, I would say it looks like Trump is going to win, honestly, but I still think Biden's going to squeak it out. Mm-hmm. If you look at certain states like Iowa, what's crazy is Biden is up right now. Antonio kind of stole my point with the whole talking about how the other non-white voters for Trump, his numbers have increased by 3 or 4%, 3 or 4 points. I thought that was interesting. I just think, you know, hearing the callers and stuff like that, I just feel like within like this community itself, you were talking about how it sounds like a lot of black men are depressed.
Uh-huh.
And I get that a lot when it comes like talking about politics. Like they have this give up, like they just, you know, it's whatever, it doesn't really matter. And I just think that's because most people, especially in this country, they're more emotional. They make their decisions emotionally. There's like a lack of emotional intelligence. And that's the main, like one of the main reasons why you have Trump is he's like, people look at what he says and he's not articulate. Like he's not, you know, he's not polished. But what he says speaks to the emotions of a lot of like worldwide people. And to me, that's what makes him dangerous, because that to me is intelligence. Like he speaks to them, he speaks to their heart. And that's why he has, you know, this visceral support. Like I said, I think still Biden's going to squeak this out where like maybe like PA when those votes get in by Friday. I think we're not going to know the results till like Friday.
Okay.
That's pretty much my take.
Okay. All right, fam. Yeah, and I think we do have a kind of emotional intelligence problem. I certainly wouldn't disagree with that. I certainly would not disagree with that. It is, you know, we're gonna have to work through it, and we're gonna have to fix it. In terms of our group, and I don't know what everybody else is gonna do, but we have to fix that, because we need everybody kind of in this fight. And even King said that like part of the problem that they had in the civil rights movement was that there were not enough people in the fight. And he was talking about Negroes. He wasn't talking about just white people. He had another criticism of white people in terms of preferring, you know, law and order over justice, and just trying to keep us from the whip, but not wanting us to be equal. But he said it like not enough people did what they needed to do. So I understand what you're saying, fam, too, and I appreciate it. And thank you so much, fam. You say something, fam?
Can I make one more point on that?
Sure.
Yeah, one more point on that. I just think people need to focus more on, like, what you're doing. Focus more on what their self-interest is. And understanding themselves more so than listen to outside entities. Because the outside entities, that's how they keep us in this bind. Because they create this, you know, this false sense of reality. And it just seems like a lot of black people just try to live up to that false sense of reality. Not understanding that that's the trick. Because they're not living that, like they're sitting here lying about, you know, their finances and we're in the same boat and everything else, and it's like economically they're doing way better, and that's honestly the game that is you know, we're so far behind it, and it affects so much of the you know, results. But that's pretty much all I got to say.
Appreciate it, fam. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate it. I'm gonna go to my next caller. I am going right now to 765. I am coming to you. What is your name, where you calling from, and who is going to win? Who's going to take it?
What's going on, baby? This is Jermaine calling from Dallas.
What's going on, Jermaine? Who gonna win tonight? Come on now. You got $100 on it. Who win?
By the time you got to me, I thought the election was gonna be over.
Nope.
All right, here's my thing. I honestly don't know who's gonna win, but I'm kind of leaning on both ends of the spectrum. I want Biden to win.
Why?
Because
tell us why. You got to give us a why.
To be able to hold these blue checks, these boule, these gatekeepers accountable for all that crap they've been talking about. We just need to let Biden in, and he gonna do what we asked him to do. I think that'll be our chance to kick in the gear and get on their behinds about you know what I mean, being gatekeepers. Now it's like, okay, well,
you said he was gonna do it.
So what you gonna go up in that dump for?
Yeah, you said he was gonna do it. You said he was gonna make it happen.
Exactly. So now we need to. That's the reason why I want them to win. However, I do want Trump to win, not because of Latino votes. I want Trump to win because Adolf decided not to vote for Biden. That's what I really want.
So we can say, see, we didn't come out for you. We voted down ballot, and then see, that's why you lost.
Yeah, exactly. I would give anything for them to put those exit polls up there, and you know how they always tell you like what people voted for, And then, like, you know how, what was that, back in 2016, you seen Harambe up there?
Uh-huh.
I would love to see ADOS up there. And I know when I voted down ballot, I put ADOS in there. So
I did too. I did too. Bubbled in, right in, and wrote ADOS. I did too. I know some people wrote ADOS, you know, one-on-one.com. I just wrote ADOS in there, and I put it, you know, in the newsletter, my vote. But yeah, that's what I did too. And let me just say this. I'm interested to see. You know, they count how many, you know, down ballot votes in previous years and stuff like that. I'm interested to see the uptick from previous years, right? From down ballot. So it's a lot of data after this election, because we're gonna have a show again tomorrow too. So it's a lot of data post election that I'm very interested in seeing. So interested.
You know another thing I was thinking about too. So you know, Tom was just on, and he was talking about the uptick in support in regards to every other minority group except for white men, right?
Uh-huh.
And I'm sitting here wondering how many people I came across who said, that we seen on Twitter and everywhere, who said they were going to vote for Trump just to protest Biden and Harris. I wonder if that 3% uptick came from that. I remember leading up to that, we put a lot of that. And we had to respond to them like, no, you don't want to do that. You got to vote down ballot. And they was like, nope, I'm going Trump just to get rid of, just to stick it to Biden and Harris. So with that being said, I'm also wondering if that is the case. I'm also wondering how very little support Biden is going to get and what those numbers will look like with ADOS. As far as us saying we're going to vote Democratic down ballot. Because if people are swinging to Trump, then I know we had to have had a bigger influence as far as, you know what I mean, voting down ballot this year.
You're right. That's interesting. That's an interesting way to put it. That's an interesting way to put it, fam.
We got some crazy stuff within the next couple of days.
Listen, I don't doubt that at all. I do not doubt that we're going to have some crazy stuff within the next couple of days. I do not doubt that at all. Like, it's finna be some... Ooh, it's supposed to be, and no matter what happens tonight or in the next couple of days, it's gonna be some meltdowns. You hear me? Some real meltdowns. People
oh man, I can't wait to see what Jamel here has to say at the end of this. Oh man, I've been on her behind for at least 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, now she want to blame white people.
What she got to say?
Now she want to blame.
She been flip flopping and she don't know what to do with herself.
No, a lot of these people ain't gonna know what to do with themselves.
She got kicked off of ESPN. That's when she flew the coop. I don't know what's going on with her now, but when they kicked her off of ESPN, she done lost her mind.
Thank you, fam. I appreciate.
One more thing I want to respond to. All right, so the guy that called in earlier that said he was gonna vote down ballot, and then he decided to go Biden. I kind of understand where he's coming from. Because I've been in the shop, I've actually talked to a couple of people too. And a lot of them wound up swinging to Biden or voting, you know what I mean, Biden. Even after I had a conversation with them about it. Only because who wins directly affects their lives. Like, I understand the 60-year-old saying, hey, look.
Yeah, but let me just say this.
Biden because I got coronavirus and I'm worried about dying. I kind of understand that.
I don't. I throw it all in the trash. Let me tell you why. If a 60-year-old says, I'm just voting for my Social Security, and especially if that person has a community, and especially if they have kids, and especially if they have grandkids, you have more years behind you than ahead of you. You don't get to just vote for yourself and your Social Security and not vote in a way that is beneficial to the people that come after you. I view that as selfishness. You know, you have to, once you get old and you've had most of your life, and I hope everybody live a long life, but you have to be willing to put your stuff on the line because that's what's best. That's what's best for the people that's coming after you. You are not an elder to me if you can't put the people who are coming after you ahead of you, because they're going to have a life and you had more in your life than they had in their life. In terms of labor was worth more, you could have a job, you have Social Security. We don't even know if we're going to have that. So you worried about your Social Security and you ain't worried about whether your kids, niece, nephew, or the young people that come after you going to have Social Security. You're worried only about yourself, and that is selfishness, and that is a problem.
Man, I wish you was in a shop when that lady said.
Oh, I'd have went off on her. That's just selfishness. You ain't worried about nobody but yourself. You ain't worried about nobody but yourself and your Social Security. It's a whole generation that comes after you that you're not worried about, and you are selfish. You are selfish. And you ought to be ashamed of yourself to be that old and to be that old and that selfish. How do you be that old and be that selfish and be that self-absorbed and concerned? There's a lot of stuff in terms of jobs, in terms of reparations, in terms of we got these young people are driving Uber and Lyft. They don't have the job that you have or whatever. You never had wealth, but you had labor, so you still had more than they had. And now you just saying, I'm gonna vote this way because it's what's best for me. You ain't got, even if you live your total lifespan out, you ain't got more than 20 years left. You probably ain't got more than 15. This person has a whole lifetime and you are not concerned about what their life looks like or the political action that you need to take to make their life better. That is a problem. So
head on fire tonight.
I'll tell them to their face. I'll tell you to your face. I ain't scared of you, little old lady. Little old man, I ain't scared of you. Thank you, fam. I appreciate you. Thank you. I appreciate you for calling in. Yeah, no, and you know, we're too understanding of that. Like if we told an old person, listen, I'm not concerned about your Social Security. I'm only concerned about whether or not I can have reparations or whether I can get a job and my student loan debt. They would be like, oh, you so selfish. I can't believe you think that way and you act that way. They would call us selfish if we put our stuff first. But they can do it and be 15 years away from the graveyard, and they can do it, and we can't do it, and we got 40 years left to try to make a way for. About what right? Y'all better start talking to everybody straight. Y'all better start talking to everybody straight about what's got to happen, right? Anyway, let me get to the next call. I'm going now to 314. 314. What's your name? Where you calling from? What is on your mind? Who gonna win?
Jack from St. Louis.
Who gonna win, fam? You got $20,000 on it. Who gonna win?
You know, it's kind of hard to say. I'm looking at it right now. I think Biden might end up pulling around the corner and taking it.
Okay.
Honestly, but I'm definitely calling on to speak on a little bit of my background experience that was going on here in Missouri. So, you know, I would say personally for me, because of personal situations, you know, coming from the struggle that we all come from within like ADOS lineage, wasn't really able to get out to the polls like I wanted to. Had family members, they go out, and overwhelmingly I would say it was a Biden ticket that they would go for, not really ADOS or down ballot Democrat. It's an interesting perspective when you kind of look at more of the elders and people in your family that are a little bit more old. I'm more of in the younger generation, but you know, they kind of go for that framing, that picture. If they're a sorority or if they're connected to someone in that sense, or what the vice president of somebody was, other than policy. You know, we get this big hoopla coming towards election day, but not necessarily building a good foundation in the home. Like, this is the first time I've had a foundation rooted in lineage and understanding what the struggles come from. So I can only imagine what it'll look like going down the line. But right now, I would say that it is that changing of the curve. It's that passing of the torch that's going on that I would say for years to come, we'll see, like you said, a big difference. Something within this Midwest and Southern region where most of us are concerned. You know, you see it's hard for us to win these states, you know, even though we vote overwhelmingly Democratic. Probably how the gerrymandering or how counties are broken up.
Yeah, gerrymandering,
more information that would probably give us more of a foundation on exactly how we can go about winning. But, you know, it's pretty much locked in what our position is. So, you know, it's just getting that message out, getting people on one accord, having that solidarity going forward. You know, like I've heard plenty of times on your show, elections and voting, that's the end result. There's a lot of beginning results or beginning efforts that have to happen going forward. Most definitely.
Absolutely, fam. And I think we're kind of getting used to doing that, right? Because that's kind of a culture too. So what we're doing is kind of, you know, what we're doing is kind of getting used to that, getting used to like, hey, this is how we do, this is what we move, and this is how we move together in unison, and not just for the Democratic Party. We move in politics for ourselves. We're not moving in politics for a candidate or something. And I think that that builds something in you, right? That is not the same as like just trying to get a certain party elected. No, when you know you're working for yourself and you're working for your family and your spouse and your babies, I think that gives you a different kind of motivation in terms of politics, right? And not just to say that. People love to say that, well, they got better policies, so I'm just doing it for my baby. No. I mean, specifically, I'm doing it for ADOS. And like this specific ADOS agenda and a transformative black agenda. I'm doing it for these two things. I'm not doing it for none of this other stuff you talking about in terms of just do the right thing or whatever. That's not what I'm doing. We're not doing it no more. This is politics, not charity. Politics is not charity. It's not a gift.
It's like we want to put too much effort into the symbolism of things or what we represent at our jobs or what we represent from coming from colleges, and not necessarily what the struggles and true issues are of our families in general. Too many of our families are broken. Those that are able to, I'm sure, get to polls and get to elections and even contribute a little bit of campaign dollars are from a more stable household and not necessarily looking at their issues within their community, within the lineage that they come from, as something that was a debt of society and something that society needs to provide back to this group. And necessarily they're looking at it in the form of, okay, this person isn't doing right, this individual person isn't doing right, and that's a representative of a whole bunch of this specific group aren't intelligent, aren't able to run for office, or not able to have a certain job, or not able to provide for themselves, when in reality, when you have a complete system that is so fractured and you have individuals trying to navigate a fractured system, even within themselves, it's like when you look at the dividedness between ADOS, those who understand where their background comes from and those that don't, it's kind of the story of America in general, a big divided piece of the slide where certain individuals, depending on where you're positioned, whether you're in the top percentile or not, create most of the influence. Because those that do have the most ability and do have the most resources, they're the ones that are projected in the limelight of our people, not necessarily the ones that are behind the scenes that are kind of left and forgotten to figure out their own life and build whatever they can out of the scraps that society's left out.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree, fam. Like that, and listen, that's what we're tearing apart. All this gatekeeper stuff and those who come from something. So you got something to protect too, right? And that's kind of why you are grifting. You have something that you too are trying to protect, right? And so we have to also say that, listen, we're gonna upset the apple cart in a lot of ways. It's not just gonna be one way we're gonna upset the apple cart. We're gonna upset the apple cart in a lot of ways, and we have to be clear on that in terms of who represents us too. You don't get to go and grift Jamel Hill. You should have been saying all that stuff last week about black men. Now you're like, I know Trump with his white. It's always been white people, and then there's a people of color coalition that gets bought up into whiteness and added to whiteness. That's also a part of that. Come on. But fam, I want to thank you so much for calling in. I absolutely appreciate it. I'm gonna get to the next caller. Thank you. And stay tuned, fam. It's about to get real up in these streets. It looks like. I am going now to. I am going to 202. 202. What's your name? Where you calling from? And who's gonna win? You got $100,000 on it and no money in the bank. Like they gave you some money in the bank to bet on this. And who's gonna win? 202.
Yeah, hey, this is Paul calling from the DMV, and I can't really call who would win, but I just need to get your view on a certain thing, and that would be this. If Biden wins, do you think that we would finally learn our lesson? Because after he inevitably lets us down, do you think that we will finally learn our lesson and maybe change course and get more focus?
I can't let you get away, fam. A gun to your head, who gonna win? You gotta give me somebody. Who's gonna win? If you had to call it, come on.
I I got a feeling now, at this point in the race, unlike earlier, at this point now, I kind of got a feeling now that Trump might take it.
Okay. Well, do you think...
This is just a feeling. This isn't based on any exit poll
I understand.
data.
I understand.
Except for something I did see about those 4 swing states.
Yeah.
But I think that Trump might take it.
Okay. Well, in terms of whether we wake up, I honestly think that the advocacy of ADOS will determine whether or not the group wakes up. I honestly do. I just think that, like, if we stay on our square and see what you saw when you heard so many people, when you heard not so many, but a few people call in and say, oh, you know, my grandmama, whoever said they was going to vote this way, but didn't. So you're seeing, you got to keep in mind, we're seeing people fall off their square. It doesn't work this way. That's like getting on the battlefield and saying, oh, shucky ducky, I sure am scared. That's a big one coming at me right there. I don't want to. Listen, can I go in the house? Like, that's like that. You can't, it doesn't work if on election day, people who committed to something now are off their square. So the job of ADOS is to keep everybody on the square and to understand why they're on that square anyway. Because nobody really wants to fight. And so if you don't help them understand why they're fighting, you're going to have a problem. So I think that depends on us. Like, we are really, I don't think we understand that we are really the light shining the way in this thing, and everything turns on what we do and how effective we are, right? And I know there's a lot up against us, but we're the only group that's trying to move ADOS and Black America in general, but especially in terms of reparation. We're the only group that's doing this kind of advocacy, right? In terms of, like, we're specific. It starts with lineage, and we go out in terms of a transformative Black agenda, but this starts with, like, reparations as the heartbeat of that agenda. Nobody else is doing that work. So I think a lot of this can be tied to whether or not we decide to give up and throw everything away, or whether we kind of stay in this fight the way we have been in this fight with that same kind of momentum and never giving in and never giving up. I think if we go the way of, well, I'm just not gonna vote, and I'm depressed, and I understand that, but we can't afford to do it. So.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
No problem, fam. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. What are y'all hearing out there on them Twitter streets? What they saying? Anyway, cause I don't want to bring in the stream. I'm going to 843. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind? And who gonna win? I mean, what's going on? Why couldn't I be? Oh, there you go. 843. Come on, 843. Talk to him.
Brother Jamil, aka Twitter handle, son of a slave. How you doing, sir?
Pretty good. I'm doing all right. How you doing this election day?
Man, I'm blessed. I'm looking at this with popcorn like Michael Jackson in the Thriller video. For real. Who's gonna win? I'm undecided as far as, but it looks like I'm in South Carolina. I'm in the belly of the slave ship here. And from what I'm seeing and the rhetoric going on, I'm really thinking Trump's going to take it again. Just to be truthful. I mean, today's election, you know, you had a lot of early voters, you had a lot of mail-in ballots, but when you went to the polls today, the line looked a little mayonnaise, you know? It looked like a lot of mayonnaise out there, as they say. But I just want to commend you and Tone for the work you guys put in and bringing the information to the people, because in this state here, I see a lot of you know, Black folks are disenfranchised. ADOS is disenfranchised here. I mean, it's a terrible climate, and the living conditions with the poverty is astronomical. And really, I think that South Carolina is like the pulse and heart of the whole conservativeness, if that's what you want to call it, quote unquote. Because it's to me, I think it's just racism, you know. And this is the legacy that we have. But I have to commend you guys for bringing the facts and the numbers, because to argue with nothing other than your opinion has no merit. And you know what's going on today is just, to me, I'm just dumbfounded at what I'm seeing over and over.
Ain't it something? It really is something. I'm here, fam. We knew Trump was gonna win Mississippi, but yeah, you're right. I'm dumbfounded by it too, and it's got to come to an end. Like there's just no way to continue to do this. Like it doesn't make any sense. Like in terms of what we need and how we need to grow and what we need to do, like this just don't make no sense. And there's no other way about it. I wish there was another way to kind of figure this out and do it, but there's no other way about it. We have to unlearn certain stuff, right? And like some of the stuff that we have to unlearn is in our politics. Some of the stuff that we have to unlearn is actually in our politics.
If we even know politics, that's a problem for us. We have no knowledge of what we're doing. A lot of ADOS, until you guys came along, had no idea what we were dealing with. And when you look at the generational gaps, like as far as with ADOS, you have the generations, and like you said, you have people out here saying, "Hey, I'm voting to protect my interests," and somewhere down the line, and we're starting to learn why we became this way, but we lost focus. You know, like you said, if you're voting for yourself and not for the next generations, that's the one thing I noticed about civil rights. They put their life on the line, not for their own life, but for those that came behind them. And, you know, ADOS really needs to ask themselves a question here in America. They really need to look at their children, because it was, I can't remember the full story, but in history they talked about when invaders came to certain countries, how the people in that country would take their children. To spare them, they would end the child's life.
Yep, I
and
that.
Where we're at right now, ADOS really needs to sit down and look at their children and ask themselves, what do they want for their children? Because I have a young child, and I look at that, and I look at my condition and what cost is outside of myself. I mean, whatever responsibility I have, but there's factors that we weren't looking at until ADOS became what it is, you know? And you can't deny that, but you have people, different generations that, you know, we have a lot of complexities and this melting pot of mess we have, you know, even within our own selves, you know. So, to me, I'm looking forward to what comes next, you know, because regardless of who wins the election, regardless of who's the president, we're still dealing with, it's just a different facet. You got the wolf and the fox, as they say, you know.
Absolutely.
You got a wolf over here that's barking loud, then you got a fox that's going to bite you on your Achilles heel and then kill you. You know, it just depends on how you want to die. And really, when I look forward, I really have anxiety about what's to come for, not me, but my daughter and her siblings, you know? And ADOS really needs to look at that. I mean, because we're at the point, some people say we're at the edge. I think we already fell off the cliff. We're just holding on to whatever's up there. We grabbed on to what we could, and we're already off that cliff as a people, you know, here in America. The wealth gap is astronomical. But I just wanted to give you guys a big ups and keep the information coming, because you make it easier for people like me to have an argument that's with substance. And a lot of times, because of where I'm at, and I use 50-cent words, as some people have said, which is basically having a vocabulary, that's just a way of saying, hey, you're kind of uppity Negro. Find your place. Don't use big words and try to be above me. It's an intimidation thing. There's a lot of stuff going on out here, and ADOS really needs to get serious about it, because what we're going to leave behind us when we go, I'm in my 40s now, but I'm looking at like my nephew who's in his early 20s and his child and my child. It's like what we're leaving behind, you can see the ramifications of what we failed to do.
Absolutely.
From the point of time from the 60s till now. And ADOS better wake up, or else we're going to be sitting on the couch with the back door open thinking about, should we kill our children now, or should we let them suffer a life that's they're going to have? And that's just the truth. It's that serious.
I agree.
And people really don't understand that.
I agree,
so That's all I wanted to say, man.
Appreciate
Thanks for giving me the time to voice my little opinion.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Yeah, you're gonna have to figure. You better face it, and now's the time to face it. And see, that's my problem. Thank you, fam, for calling in. I appreciate you. I appreciate that comment. And let me just say this: I think some people are gonna try to, like, when you talk about the people just worry about their Social Security. Some people are just like, well, I'm not gonna have to face because I'm gonna die. I just want to die comfortably. That's not good enough. That's just not good enough. That's not what we need. And not only that, that's not solidarity. Like, we have to be in a space of solidarity, and that's what it has to be. And there's no other way around that. I'm going now to I'm going to let me try this. I'm going to 410. What is your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind? And you got to tell me who's going to win. 410. I want to know who is going to win.
Hello.
Hey, 410, what's going on?
Hey, I made it. I don't believe it. I think Trump is going to win.
All right.
Because me personally, I'm 62 years old.
Okay.
And I didn't vote at all.
What is with the non-voters? I say, what is with the non-voters? Like, we've been pushing this whole time for Democratic down ballot, and I even if you want to just vote down ballot, I have 3 non-voters on the call so far. I think, if I kept count. Explain that to me.
Well, I encourage my family to vote down ballot, and I was just telling them about how Biden, what he did to the black people, locked up all the black guys, and Kamala Harris. I mean, I just couldn't see that anybody voting for Biden because of his past.
Mm-hmm.
Trump. I've seen Trump since I've been working. I started working at 16 years old. I've met plenty of Trump, but as far as Biden, I couldn't see anybody black vote for Biden, really.
Mm-hmm. So why didn't you vote for anything, though? Why didn't you vote for anybody? You recommended your family to vote a certain way. Why didn't you vote?
I don't know. Maybe I had what you said earlier. You were talking that one call about, I'm just disappointed in the whole political system. I haven't voted since Obama. That was disappointing to me. And seeing all these black people get killed out here, he didn't say a word. But like I say, I do encourage my kids, and I tell my grandkids about just the past, because they don't even know the past of what's been going on with black people. But I just thank you all, you and Tone and AWS family, because I've found a new, meaning to my blackness, who I am and where I come from and what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm kind of nervous right now. I had a whole lot to say, but right now it's just going through my mind.
I understand, fam. Well, I appreciate you. I appreciate you calling and giving your perspective. Thank you so much for calling in. I'm gonna speak about it. But let me just say something to everybody who didn't vote at all. Like, you can't live in your disappointment. Like, this is not a, and I respect him, because I think a lot of people are getting kind of depressed. But, like, disappointment isn't a place where you can live at. You can't stay there. If you stay in your disappointment, you're going to be struggling with depression and addiction and all kind of stuff. You got to move out of that. We all, as ADOS, have a reason to be disappointed. Disappointment is something that you go through, not something that you live in. You got to move through that disappointment, right? You can't talk about, I was disappointed by Obama. You got to move through that disappointment. You got every right to say, I wish, and learn from that experience and use it for something else. We can't live in disappointment. We just can't do that. You got to keep moving. This is life. You got to keep going. I don't know how else to express that. Let me go to my next call. I am going to 347. What's your name? Where you calling from? And you got to tell me who's about to win and who's, call it for me right now. 347, coming to you.
Hey, What's up, Yvette? This is Bernadette. How you doing?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm good. I had to get on this call. Let me tell you why.
Okay.
I heard the other 3 callers say that they did not get out and they did not vote. What is the purpose of what we're doing if they don't do their part on their end? I'm going to tell y'all something. I live on the 9th floor in the project, and I had to walk down the stairs just to get out to vote. And knowing that the vote, it wasn't one elevator. I have 2 elevators. Both of my elevators was out. And if that's not enough reason for me to say, you know what? I can't walk down those stairs. I can't get out of here and think about the trucking of me coming back up with bags from the supermarket to pick up my little goodies and things like that. Mm-hmm. Having to do all of that was a reason for me to stay home. But I did not. I chose to go in, and I chose to make sure that the Democrats knew that I was there and that I voted, but I voted down ballot all the way. There was not one ADOS person on the ticket for me to vote for, or nobody that I recognized them doing anything great for us. So I had to make it my obligation to go. It's one thing to be discouraged, and it's another to let people know that you're in there to do something different this time. They had to know that I was there, and I couldn't wait to get in there. I couldn't wait. But anyway, I believe that, as bad as I hate to say Trump's name, Trump, I believe he's going to win. I really don't want him to, but I believe he's going to win based on the fact that he had all the support from everywhere, and they're about to cause a ruckus, I believe, if Biden gets in.
No, ruckus.
That's what I think.
Yeah, and thank you, and thank you so much for. Thank you, caller. I appreciate that. The elevators was broken. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you too.
Thank you,
Thank you so much, ADOS and Tone and all of y'all. I appreciate all of y'all.
Appreciate
have
it.
Have a good night.
You too. You have a good one as well. Yeah, if she can do that, you can get out. It don't do no good. See, it don't do no good to talk about how everything wrong. And listen, we always talk about how voting is just one tool in the toolbox. And there's a lot of other stuff we got to do. We know that. We ain't crazy. But like voting is like the minimum. It's a lot of other stuff after that. Like I said, you can't live in your disappointment and how you feel. And you get all hyped up about the show and what we talk about. But then when it's time to execute, let me tell you something, family. If you got kids, tell them planning is wonderful and you got to have a good plan. But plan ain't worth nothing if you're not in the execution. You got to be in the execution. Your execution got to be there. It's a lot of people that had a plan for some stuff and never even tried to execute. It doesn't do us any good to learn about black politics. We're not going to execute black politics in terms of put that thing into action. What's the deal if we're not going to do that? It don't make a whole lot of sense. So anyway, fam, I think I'm going to take one more call. If you didn't get through today, we're going to be there tomorrow breaking everything. We're going to be here tomorrow breaking everything down and talking about the data and who the president. We're going to have a conversation about it. So let me go now to who am I going to? The lucky caller. I got 2 773s. So I'm going to 7737. 7737. I'm coming to you. Who's going to win?
Hello.
Hey, what's going on? Who's gonna win? Give me your prediction.
I think Trump gonna win. I think Trump gonna.
Why everybody think Trump gonna pull it out? Everybody think. What y'all think in the chat? Let me just ask the chat. Chat, who's gonna win? Let me take a poll of the chat before we end this. Who is going to win, chat? So Trump won Ohio. Okay, Lana. Oh, well, all right. Well, go ahead, Carl. I'm sorry. I just want to take a poll of the chat and see what they think too.
No, I was just about to say I think Trump's gonna win because the man got a lot of money. And I got to fix my words because I said when this first started, I said he was going to be back in office. I think he might win.
Well, we're gonna find out. We're gonna certainly find out now. We're gonna find out. We might know tonight. Trump. It seems people seem to think Trump. Biden is gonna barely win. I think it's between Trump. Biden will win. I think it's a tie. I think it's we see a lot of Trump, but I also see a lot of people who say Biden is gonna squeak by. So we're gonna figure it out. But I'll let you finish up. Fam. I'm just taking the pulse of the chat. We're gonna be back tomorrow talking about it.
I think it's going to be close, but I really want to call in and say that I really appreciate you for creating this platform, and I really rock with the movement. I'm from the States, by the way. I'm coming from Chicago.
Okay.
And I really want to spread this message to my millennials because I have a lot of friends. I have two types of friends. Friends who are just like listening to these celebrities and all these people in the media just telling them to go vote for Biden. And then I got my other friends who just been voted off. So I'm trying to get this information to them so they can hop on the movement too. So I just want to appreciate you.
Oh, I appreciate you. I appreciate you because that's movement work. Trying to get them to hop on the movement is movement work. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much, fam. Appreciate you.
No problem.
And thank you for calling in, fam.
Same thing. I want to get involved. So,
absolutely.
Info, like how I can get involved. I just moved to Atlanta. I know you guys have a chapter down here.
Email me at editor@breakingbrown.com and I'll send you to Atlanta to the info. I'll hook you up with the chapter leaders and stuff there. Okay.
All right, thank you.
No problem, fam. No problem. Editor@breakingbrown.com. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. And I have already heard from a lot of you who want to start chapters. If you have not and want to find chapters, I have your mail. If you have not, send it to me as well. Fam, we are gonna, if we didn't get to you tonight, we almost 2 hours and 40 minutes in. I don't have no co-anchor to throw it back and forth to, so breaking news. Anyway, so fam, I will be back tomorrow night and we're gonna hash it all out. So if you did not get through tonight, look for tomorrow where we are going to have the conversation about what went down tonight. So fam, I enjoyed the calls. I'm happy of everybody who did go out and vote and do what we planned on doing. See, when we figure out something we're going to do, you got to do what we planned on doing. So please hit that like button for me. If you're in there, please hit that like button for me. And that is it. I'm finna go watch the rest of this stuff. And it's going to be quite a evening, quite a night, and quite a tomorrow. Somebody's going to be very happy and somebody's going to be very sad. Fam. I will see you all on the morrow.